Deep in a forest of eternal twilight, massive trees cast long, eerie shadows, creating an almost impenetrable canopy. But through the darkness, Helmut was already scaling a colossal tree trunk with insane speed and silence, his eyes burning with a faint white glow. The only thing you could hear was the wind tearing through the leaves, a soft, eerie rustle. Moonlight fought its way through the dense leaves, creating ghostly, dancing beams of light in the pitch black. But deeper in the woods, a small campfire blazed, its warmth a defiant beacon against the cold, dark night. By the fire's glow, a man with spiky gray hair and a gnarly scar stood, his eyes like daggers, scanning everything. Helmut, meanwhile, was a ghost in the shadows, watching his every move. Then, with a chilling calm, the gray-haired man slowly pulled out a knife, glanced at the ground, and then just walked away from the fire, leaving it behind. As he vanished, the forest went back to its eerie quiet, only the wind and the smell of smoke lingering in the air. He dived straight into the action, a blur of motion in the glowing forest, his first hit sending a monster flying. For more bat-like monsters swarm him, glowing ominously in the weird forest light, but the fight's getting loud. Meanwhile, the gray-haired man, totally caught off guard by the ruckus, snaps his head up, thinking, hold on a second. Helmut, oblivious to the distant watcher, stares down the remaining threats, a fierce look in his eyes as he declares, if you're gonna kill, you better be ready to die. He whips out his bow, purple energy exploding around the string, charging up for the ultimate shot. The arrow rockets forward, a pure mana blast, smashing into its target with insane power. The monster shrieks, its body twisting from the hit, then just vanishes. Silence. Helmut moves on, knowing that with that last hit, there's no more bait for trouble. The journey presses on, but a voice cuts through the silence, calling out to Darien. He ponders the deeper meaning, realizing the situation is way more twisted than it seems, his foot hitting the ground with a decisive thud. Through the thick forest, each step is a beat in his relentless march forward. Even with all the heavy thoughts, he can't shake off this crushing boredom. His eyes blaze with a crimson glow, a dangerous smirk hinting at the chaos he's about to unleash. Elsewhere, in a dark, secret chamber, a mysterious robed figure ponders, obsessed with whether the Demon King's bloodline was truly left alone, a thought that consumes him. Speaking to a hushed council of cloaked figures, he can't believe the Demon King's bloodline is still kicking after all these years, a bombshell that sends shivers down their spines. A flash of light from his ring as he corrects himself, the real problem isn't the Demon King's bloodline at all, it's the human one. The shadowy council debates, one figure questioning, can't we just send people into that place? A desperate plea follows, then we'll save everyone else. The gray-haired man ponders, then a voice exclaims, oh, we can totally do that. Brilliant. Let's move forward with this plan. But a chilling scream rips through the silence, no. A bound figure struggles, begging, take me instead. Not them. He fights back, desperately warning, let me go. Everyone else will pay if you don't. But the gray-haired man is merciless, ordering, start it. The bound figure, now radiating a golden glow, lets out a final, desperate shriek, and oh. No. Then, with a violent surge, a blinding, explosive light bursts from his form. His body is engulfed, dissolving into pure golden light, a featureless silhouette surrounded by the silent, robed council. His face twists in pure torment, eyes blazing with a final, desperate light, as he's violently dragged into the abyss, a scream tearing through the air, Helmut. After the last shocking turn, the story plunges into a chilling legend, revealing the Root, a place so utterly consumed by evil that not even the most brilliant minds, fiercest warriors, or strongest mages have ever escaped its grasp. This isn't just any forest, it's a death trap, littered with bones, where the condemned are thrown in, their lives forfeit the moment they touch its cursed soil. But here's the kicker, there was a twisted glimmer of hope. They said if you somehow clawed your way out of that hellhole, your sins would be wiped clean by some insane divine magic. The whispers persisted, a dark promise that, if they somehow survived that nightmare, their sins would be wiped away. But then, out of nowhere, a baby arrived, and get this, its mere existence was considered a sin. This poor kid was literally tossed into the demonic abyss, a place nobody ever comes back from, the whole damn forest practically oozing with evil power. Freezing cold and gnawing hunger became its only friends, brutally shaping the child in that godforsaken wasteland. But even in that absolute hell, something incredible started to awaken deep inside its body, like a powerful seed taking root right in its heart. A torrent of raw power exploded, completely engulfing the abandoned child. 10 brutal days passed, and somehow, the child survived with an insane tenacity. But then, out of the shadows, a pair of glowing, piercing cyan eyes appeared, a massive beast stepping right into the child's desperate struggle. Its heavy footsteps thundered through the forest, closing in on a tiny, helpless figure sprawled on the ground. With a primal, earth-shattering roar, the beast unleashed its terrifying power. Its colossal paw slammed down with a heavy thud, a chilling declaration of its arrival. On that fateful day, the child's destiny was forever changed. A decade later, the forest had transformed into a vibrant, thriving expanse. And now, on a sun-drenched path, a young helmet walked alongside Ilaga, who encouraged him, "Phew, just a little more." A young helmet, eyes blazing with raw intensity, throws a lightning-fast punch. Then, a blur of motion, a devastating kick connects. He's not just fighting, he's dominating, a silent force of nature. And just like that, the hunt is over, the small creature secured. Ilaga, ever the watchful companion, gives a nod of approval to the young hunter. Time flies, but some bonds are eternal, as Helmet and Ilaga stride through the wild, inseparable. Helmet, older and sharper, confirms his hunting success to Ilaga, but only for the easy targets, the weak. He reflects on how rare such easy hunts have become, a sign of a world growing tougher. But this hunt yields more than just sustenance, a mysterious, glowing artifact appears from the defeated creature. He's playfully tackled and pinned by the massive spotted feline, a deep growl vibrating from her chest. He struggles, clutching a glowing bead, as she demands it, but he flat out refuses. Her eyes narrow, delivering a chilling warning, "Eat that bead, and he'll become a demonic beast." She doubles down, telling him if he becomes a beast, he's stuck in this forest forever. As they walk through the dense woods, Helmet can't help but wonder if the bead could make him stronger, but Ilaga quickly shuts down his idea. He confesses he's still too weak to leave her territory. Ilaga turns, her face serious, and tells him he can just leave. Helmet stares up, completely shocked by her words. Her eyes fixed on the forest canopy, Ilaga repeats her command, telling him to get out. Of this forest, Ilaga declares, her powerful voice cutting through the silence. Helmet's eyes widen in disbelief, demanding to know how she could possess such knowledge when she herself claimed escape was impossible. The massive creature then drops a bombshell, revealing that despite her previous statements, one person actually broke free, proving that the impossible could be achieved. He can only utter a stunned, "that," as the implications sink in. His gaze intensifies, a chilling realization dawning as he remembers the mysterious human he encountered before. Ilaga, unfazed, points out his own words, reminding him he was the one who spoke of an escapee, but Helmet is fixated on the terrifying resemblance of that person's eyes to his captor's. Her eyes blaze with an ethereal blue as she pushes him, demanding to know the whereabouts of this individual, challenging his claim of being unable to leave. Suddenly, a sinister red aura erupts around Helmet, and Ilaga delivers the shocking truth, that human has already fallen, consumed by the bead and twisted into a demonic beast. As he strides deeper into the ominous woods, Ilaga's final, chilling words echo, no matter his efforts, he too will inevitably become a demonic beast, unable to withstand the forest's corrupting energy, for he was born of darkness itself. "It's been ages since I last saw him," a voice echoes, watching Darien stride deeper into the ominous forest. "He's gotta be like, 20 years old now." Ilaga's eyes narrow, demanding answers. "Didn't you say humans live for centuries? So where did you even meet this guy?" A snarl escapes her. "I regret everything. You're really gonna leave, huh? Disgusting. Don't even think about telling me to look after him," she growls, clearly annoyed. "He might not even be there anymore." "Fine. Go on then. Do whatever you want," she practically shouts, losing her cool. "Who even owns this place?" "It's literally part of this place," she insists, her frustration boiling over. But as her words hit, Helmet's eyes ignite with an intense, glowing violet, a raw power simmering beneath the surface. Ilaga's jaw drops, utterly shocked by his sudden transformation. "What?" Ignoring her, he pushes deeper into the dark, ancient woods, leaving Ilaga to shout after him, "I don't even care if you die out there." With his violet eyes blazing, Darien pushes deeper into the shadowy, ancient woods, completely unaware of the hidden gaze tracking his every step. A human in this forest, a voice echoes, and not just any human, a powerful one, untouched by the very darkness that consumes this place. Then, a flash of movement, a young, wild-haired warrior bursts into view, a confident smirk playing on his lips, the very other human who's been watching. His bare feet fly across the ground, a blur of motion, as he declares, "Just like me." He gasps, eyes wide, utterly stunned. He's thinking, was there even a place like this here? He's staring at this wild, new landscape, totally confused how it even exists. Perched on a rough wooden fence, Helmet scans the massive, green forest ahead. His hand slams into the ground, and a soft green glow bursts from his palm, sending particles flying. Ilaga's right there, and he just whispers, "Finally." The green power explodes from his hand as he fights an invisible force, a raw, primal grunt tearing from his throat. He screams, dropping to one knee as a massive, vibrant green aura detonates around him. The green energy fades, but the silence is shattered by a commanding voice, interrogating him about his identity and origins. Clutching his head on the forest floor, he's overwhelmed by the crushing realization of being utterly alone. Towering above him, the gray-haired man presses on, dropping Ilaga's name, and questioning the very presence of a human in this place. A chilling realization dawns in his piercing blue eyes, as if a long-held theory has just been proven. Without warning, a hand descends, making contact with Helmut's head, a strange energy crackling between them. His gaze unwavering, the gray-haired man demands to know his purpose for seeking him out. Met with silence, the gray-haired man's thoughts turn dark, realizing this isn't even human, a chilling truth that echoes in Helmut's own tormented mind. Under the vast, indifferent sky, the two figures remain locked in their silent confrontation. A raw, desperate whisper finally breaks from Helmut, his only desire to break free from this place. A wave of pure dread washes over him, a primal scream to break free from this suffocating forest. Sunlight slices through the ancient canopy, carving a path through the mystical woods. He strides through the forest, a voice echoing in his head, declaring, "My name is Darien," then demanding to know the others, the only answer the whisper of the wind. But then, a shockwave of surprise hits him as the gray-haired man materializes, his voice a chilling whisper that pierces the air, "Helmut." Pinned to the ground, the gray-haired man's voice hammers at him, challenging his will to leave, declaring his escape impossible, but a fire ignites within him, "I'm getting out of here." Towering over him and Ilaga, the man's stare is like steel, as he demands to know their desperate reason for trying to flee. The gray-haired man warns that the world outside is a lie, a brutal illusion, but Helmut's eyes blaze with defiance, declaring he'll do what he wants, screaming internally, "I'm getting out of here." A chilling voice rips through the void, declaring some are born with darkness, others acquire it, branding him as pure evil, worse than any monster. The voice keeps hammering, demanding where he'll run, insisting escape is impossible from this forest, as he stands there, bare-chested, confirming the darkness within. Back in the present, the gray-haired man eyes him, pointing out his convenient outside origin, then drops a bombshell, "Are you preparing a body?" Ilaga looks on, utterly bewildered. The elder presses on, muttering about a debt to a leopard, his hands suddenly flaring with an eerie, faint glow. Then, a terrifying vision, his chest erupts in a powerful purple glow, as a voice screams that he shouldn't have given away his heart, because now, it's trapped with him. The vision climaxes in a horrifying scene, he's impaled by countless arrows, blood exploding across his chest. Snapping back to reality, the gray-haired man delivers a chilling prophecy, he'll be hunted relentlessly, even if he escapes this forest, destined to die battling other humans. Then, with a piercing stare, he asks the ultimate question, "Do you still want to leave this forest?" Helmut takes it all in, a silent understanding passing between them, and the gray-haired man, with a grim nod, simply says, "Okay." Suddenly, a powerful hand clamps down on Helmut's head, an unexpected and forceful grab. He screams, "Wait, what are you doing?" as the gray-haired man hoists him up like he weighs nothing. A frustrated "fuck" rips from his throat, the shock of the moment hitting him hard. The gray-haired man just stares, coolly noting, "You have quite the talent," before dropping the bombshell, "If you want to go to the world outside, you first need to become one." This is getting intense. Without another word, the gray-haired man grabs him again, forcefully declaring, "Let's go." No time for questions. With an unshakable resolve, the gray-haired man makes a chilling promise, "I'll make you into a human." Deep in the forest, Helmut finally breaks the silence, demanding, "What do I have to do to get out of here?" The gray-haired man admits, "I don't like to do this, but you have no choice in your current state," then cuts straight to the chase, "You have to get stronger." Helmut, confused, asks, "Who?" but the gray-haired man just gives him the classic, "I can't tell you yet," cliffhanger. Helmut's mind races, the gray-haired man's challenge to get stronger echoing in his head, leaving him to question how he could even begin to pull that off. The gray-haired man just strides away from the shack, casually mumbling about doing what he can, leaving Helmut to stew. Darien, absolutely fed up, screams out, furious about having to go through all this insane stuff. He watches the gray-haired man toiling away outside, thinking, is this seriously how normal humans live? The gray-haired man points to the grimy ground, taunting Helmut about wanting to live like this, then declares it's way too disgusting. He then throws down the gauntlet, asking if Helmut really wanted to stay stuck in that forest, leaving the young man to seethe with silent rage. Inside the hut, Helmut stares in disbelief at a pathetic straw bed, demanding to know what it is, only for the gray-haired man to casually drop the bomb, "That's your bed now." Helmut collapses onto the miserable bed, letting out a desperate groan, "No way I can sleep here." The gray-haired man just sneers, calling him a lazy bum, then barks at him to get moving, because there's still a ton of work to do, tossing him some new threads. Helmut is absolutely not feeling these new threads. He's stuck in some basic rags, complaining about the discomfort and how he's got nothing to even ruin. He lets out a frustrated clearly not thrilled with his current situation. Out in the wild, Helmut is hauling a massive load of sticks, but the gray-haired man is already on his case, demanding more speed. Helmut, fed up, snaps back, asking if he's just some beast of burden. But the gray-haired man just keeps going, showing him how to turn even the nastiest plants into something edible. He breaks down the plant, revealing that the root is pure poison and useless for food, but the core? That's where the raw demonic energy is hiding. Next, he's at a stream, showing Helmet the trick: use the water to cleanse the demonic core and make it safe. Helmet just hums in response, while the gray-haired man drives home the point: raw plants are king, and you adapt or you die out here. Suddenly, his eyes flare with a furious purple glow as Helmet's patience snaps, confessing he has absolutely zero clue about any of this wilderness stuff. But his complaints fall on deaf ears, and now he's stuck lugging 2 massive buckets of water, totally baffled about how this even fits into his training. Days of relentless chores, and the young man was at his breaking point, questioning if this training was just pure torment. But before he could even open his mouth, a sudden, explosive force sent him hurtling backward, crashing into the water with a shocked yell. Ilaga, the massive beast, glared down, demanding to know what Darien was doing, and why he was so stubbornly refusing her one simple request. Her piercing gaze held him pinned to the forest floor, her question hanging heavy in the air as he struggled to recover. Tears of frustration welled in his eyes as Darien finally unleashed his true feelings, reminding her, "You called me a demonic beast. So I belong in the human world." Ilaga's gaze flickered, a hint of uncertainty in her eyes as she admitted she didn't have all the answers, but her warning was clear: nothing good will come if you stay here. With a determined nod, Darien made his decision clear: "I'm off, see." He turned and walked away, leaving Ilaga and the forest behind. Ilaga stood motionless among the ancient trees, her gaze distant, lost in thought as he disappeared from view. A profound concern etched itself onto her face, her vibrant cyan eyes betraying a silent, heavy worry for the young man's path. After all that, she just thinks he's gonna have a good life. And with that, Ilaga just dips, vanishing into the forest like a ghost. A quick splash of magic, and she's gone. Meanwhile, the grind never stops. The gray-haired man's voice cracks like a whip, barking orders to keep that form perfect. Darien is pushing past his limits, every muscle screaming, and the gray-haired man just hits him with the ultimate guilt trip: "Don't you want to leave?" Pure rage boils up inside him, a silent "damn it" ripping through his thoughts. The gray-haired man just stares, dropping the cold hard truth: "Yeah, this is hell." Helmet just takes it all in, silent. He takes the brutal truth, that no work, no food, mantra, this messed up paradise, but deep down, he knows it's all worth it. With the sun blazing down, a burning resolve ignites in Helmet's gaze. Even with all his resolve, the brutal training keeps pushing him past his breaking point, forcing a raw scream from his throat as he's yanked back, the gray-haired man's voice cutting through the pain, telling him to stop and take a seat. His body, absolutely wrecked and drained, is carefully held by the gray-haired man, who keeps him upright as he fights to pull himself together. With one last, ragged breath, he forces out a strained "all right," finally giving in to the much-needed break. Before long, they're both chilling by a roaring campfire in the woods, grabbing a peaceful bite to eat as the light filters through the trees. That simple food hits different after everything he's been through, and he's absolutely devouring every bite, practically shouting how good it is. He just keeps chowing down with pure enthusiasm, totally loving every single bite of the warm, amazing food. The gray-haired man cracks a smile, wondering what magic he pulled to make the soup so good, while he, still stuffing his face, shouts about how unbelievably delicious it is. Getting to his feet, the gray-haired man calls him Darien, asking why he's not eating, then tells him to pay attention while he finishes his meal. He lays it out for Helmet, reminding him of his core mission: he came here to escape this forest, and right now, the only path forward is to get stronger. He's mid-bite, spoon frozen in the air, as the gray-haired man drops a truth bomb: "You're no demonic beast of the forest. No matter how hard you grind," he stresses, "there are just hard limits to a human body," his arm bulging to drive the point home. Then, he gets all nostalgic, rambling about the old days of the microstate sub-conqueror, a faraway look in his eyes as he reminisces about forgotten might. But then, his face hardens, and he declares he's gonna show Helmet what a true sword is, a promise that chills to the bone. The gray-haired man bursts into a sprint, covering ground in an instant. His hand a mere blur as it reaches forward. Helmet's eyes are locked on, absorbing every detail as the gray-haired man commands him to watch closely. Then, an explosive surge of power. The gray-haired man charges, his staff blazing with a vibrant blue aura. A guttural exhale rips from him as he unleashes his might. He unleashes a devastating sweep with the staff, a golden energy ripping through the air, leaving destruction in its wake. The impact detonates, sending a shockwave tearing across the ground. Helmet's eyes snap wide open, stunned by the raw power of the demonstration, the very earth before him visibly scarred. The gray-haired man's staff ripped through the air, unleashing a torrent of golden energy that absolutely shredded the earth with a thunderous impact, sending shockwaves that cracked the ground wide open, leaving a trail of absolute devastation in its wake. Helmet watched, absolutely floored, as massive chunks of the forest floor floated suspended in the air, the very ground having been utterly obliterated by the sheer force of the attack. His heart absolutely pounded in his chest, a silent testament to the insane power he had just witnessed. Standing amidst the absolute devastation, the gray-haired man turned to him, the shattered landscape a stark, brutal backdrop to his words. He explained that this was how humans survived. Still reeling from the insane display, Helmut could only stammer, trying to comprehend the raw, terrifying power he had just witnessed. The man then named the technique, his staff absolutely blazing with residual golden energy, Vis. He flashes back to the beginning, when the raw, untamed power of Vis coursed through him, a beast demanding control. It felt like a wild beast tearing him apart, but he craved to master it. The training hit him like a truck, leaving him absolutely wrecked on the ground, while his mentor, the gray-haired man, loomed over him, telling him to chill, that his body wasn't even close to handling Vis yet. But even then, he got the sword, knowing it would shatter just like him if he didn't wield it right. He had to follow its path. To never fall, because if he poured his entire soul into it, the sword would pay him back tenfold. A lighter hand clamps down, guiding a smaller, darker one on a wooden staff with a sharp thwack. This was the start of it all, the origin story of young Helmut, the abandoned child, destined for greatness. Out on the training field, his mentor's booming voice demanded absolute focus, but all he could manage was a desperate GHH. The sprawling training grounds offered no hiding place from the relentless drills, every single move under intense scrutiny. The gray-haired mentor towered over him, demanding to know how many times he'd been told, accusing him of outright rebellion, and barking at him to show respect. With a face contorted in frustration, Helmut could only choke out, properly. "Sir." He lets out a frustrated groan, his mentor's sharp voice cutting through the air, demanding to know if his left arm was the problem. The gray-haired man then lays into him, calling him a brat and questioning if all his detailed explanations were utterly wasted. Helmut, his young face burning with fury, snaps back, yelling for his mentor to just get to the point and explain things clearly from the start. But the older man just shuts him down, declaring he won't repeat himself and that Helmut is expected to just get it, for this brutal, no-nonsense approach was the hallmark of his training. The sheer, mind-bending torrent of information shoved into his head was more than he could possibly handle, yet his mentor insisted it was only the bare minimum. Dark, shadowy tendrils lashed out, his eyes blazing with raw struggle. Back then, there was no escape, no questioning, no refusal. His mentor was relentless, never coddling, never praising, never quitting, just hammering the same lessons in countless brutal ways. The gray-haired man watches him, then with a chilling resolve, declares he will teach him. A blinding, lightning-fast strike explodes with a deafening impact. Helmut screams as he's violently launched through the air, his mentor's voice cutting like ice, proclaiming he's grown weaker. He's pushing his limits, purple energy surging around his hands, but the frustration is palpable as he screams out, "Why'd you let me chase?" But his mentor, the gray-haired man, just stares him down, demanding to know if he actually grasps the fundamental difference. Helmut, sprawled on the ground, can only muster a defeated, "No." A sharp thud rings out, and the mentor's voice cuts like a knife, threatening to withhold dinner if he can't even answer a simple question. Helmut flinches back from the sudden strike, shouting in disbelief, but then a spark ignites in his eyes, and he frantically insists he's just about to get it. His mentor, unyielding, simply states the obvious, it's all about the amount of mana and the speed you can unleash it. Helmut's mind races, spectral figures mirroring each other's moves around him, and he can't help but question why the movements look identical if the power is so different. In the serene forest, the gray-haired man pushes him again, demanding to know if he finally grasps the profound difference between what's seen and what's truly there. This isn't just about raw power, it's about the knowledge etched into his very senses, the inherent strengths of his bloodline, and the forgotten, ancient power lying dormant within him. The mentor's voice cuts through the air, a stark command, the raw power of the mana sword, its very core, demands total control. Only then, he demands, can Helmut even begin to say he's learned a single thing. Every single move, he drills, demands a lifetime of absolute devotion. And only then, he declares, will the real comprehension finally hit. Helmut stares skyward, letting the heavy words sink in. While the mentor's brutal critique lands, right now, you're just flailing your arms around like a fool. You're no swordsman, you're a lumberjack. A frustrated groan rips from him. But the mentor's command is absolute, again. Helmut pauses, a silent hum of determination sparking within him, before diving back into the brutal training. Standing in a lush forest, he hears a powerful, familiar voice cut through the silence. Helmut spins around, a massive, spotted beast before him, and they exchange a tense greeting after what feels like ages. Ilaga's piercing cyan eyes fix on him, demanding to know what exactly he meant by his words. She throws a sarcastic jab, pointing out that he hasn't exactly been a lone wolf either. He tries to explain, insisting he was tied to her, and that he genuinely wanted to stay with her. But Ilaga is having none of it, her anger flaring as she confronts him about Hunt and his shocking silence. With a furious roar, she declares herself the ultimate protector, promising to take down Hunt first, then come for him. He watches her, noting her fierce, unchanging nature, but subtly warns her that he's not the same person she remembers. Her gaze unwavering, Ilaga accepts the challenge, ready to throw down. He faces down the powerful leopard, a tense silence hanging in the air as he ponders their next epic move. Strange thoughts, like other lives matter more than mine, start flooding his brain, but even with this new perspective, he's still totally unyielding. Obviously, he muses, if they can unleash their power, then so can he. The massive leopard starts moving, and he trails behind, his mind flashing back to a past moment. He remembers the gray-haired man's powerful words, taking help from those you hate, or even fear, isn't actually evil, and it hits him differently now. His gaze sharpens as he digs into the deeper meaning, totally baffled why that guy felt so much hate. The leopard whips her head around, her voice cutting through the air as she drops a bombshell. The human messing up this whole zone was called Hunt. She locks eyes with him, a clear dare in her gaze, demanding to know if he's curious about this new intel. His face lights up with a mix of shock and pure eagerness, confessing he can't fight his own curiosity and needs all the details. Then, a raw, primal roar rips through the silence, Ilaga's bestial jaws snapping open in a furious display of power. A blinding flash erupts, her very essence twisting and reforming, a radiant, human-shaped silhouette ascending into the heavens. From the towering peaks, the tiny, spotted beast plummets, a defiant declaration ringing out, "I'll give you," as a storm of magic ignites around her. The very atmosphere explodes with raw power, a dazzling supernova of light and magic, the transformation reaching its peak, bathing the world in ethereal glow. A final, thunderous surge of power rips through the heavens, the metamorphosis almost complete. From the swirling vortex of clouds, a perfect human silhouette emerges, plunging towards the ground with breathtaking speed. Helmet's jaw drops, utterly stunned, as the figure touches down, and Ilaga, now a stunning human, declares, "That's right. A human form." Her eyes blaze with an otherworldly luminescence, the incredible metamorphosis finally complete. Flashback. A ferocious white beast, Ilaga, with those iconic black spots, absolutely rockets towards a defenseless village, pure power in motion. The world opens up, a breathtaking panorama of towering mountains and endless green, stretching out under a perfect sky. But through this calm, Helmet and Ilaga are on the move, the powerful beast gliding like a shadow through the trees. Their path takes a dark turn, revealing a brutal camp where monstrous green figures lord over terrified human captives. Helmet's eyes narrow, a chilling realization dawning on him, as he whispers, "A farm, of humans." Down in the camp, a green brute unleashes a savage blow on a captive, who screams in agony. The monster snarls at the battered worker, shouting to, "Do your work properly," even as the blows rain down. Helmet's gaze remains fixed on the unfolding horror, his face a mask of grim determination as he takes it all in. And then, a new presence, the gray-haired man stands beside him, both silently observing the horrific scene below. Helmet is totally confused, asking what he's even looking at. They look like him, but they're so messed up, so different. A gnarly green goblin, watching the human captives, chillingly explains that even the kids are growing up, and those females, they're just food. The goblin then spells it out for Helmet, yeah, they're human, but they've got different genders, and that's how they tell the guys from the girls. The goblin keeps spilling the beans, saying Naho is all about the females, they're tender, easy to control, and super fertile. But if they're too tiny, they're worthless, and Naho won't eat them until after, well, you know. He drops the bombshell, females are just Naho's next meal, and the males, they're slaves for life. And this whole messed up system, he explains, is just to keep their twisted race going. Helmet, with Ilaga right there, just puts it together, this whole thing is a sick farm, run by goblins, and there's one boss, or rather, he's like. The gray-haired man takes it all in as the goblin repeats Naho's weird rule about not eating females before mating, because they're his property, and yeah, they're all his. Suddenly, the goblin whips around, his eyes locking onto the two hidden figures, and calls out to them. He glares down at the cowering goblin, a dark, menacing aura radiating from him as he makes a chilling decision, he'll let it live, for now. A chilling chorus of goblin shrieks erupts from the depths, as he and Ilaga gaze upon a massive goblin army, the sheer scale of it making him seethe with a silent fury. He grasps the brutal truth of their world, but there's no way he'll ever be treated like cattle. Ilaga glances at him, a low growl rumbling in its throat. Ilaga's face twists in revulsion, the thought of humans being farmed like animals making its fur bristle. It admits that such a ruthless system makes perfect sense to its primal instincts, then quickly corrects itself with a sheepish cough. Then, a deep, resonant voice cuts through the silence, a sinister welcome announcing their discovery. Out of the abyss, the grotesque entity known as Naho manifests, a writhing horror of raw flesh, pulsing veins, and countless tentacles. The monstrous draconic form, crackling with raw purple power, looms large, casting an ominous shadow over the glowing blue terrain. Below, the white leopard-like beastfolk lies still, eyes closed, seemingly in a deep slumber. A deep, resonant voice cuts through the air, noting a rare expression, then directly addresses the beastfolk, Ilaga. Suddenly awake, Ilaga stares down at the human, who lets out a frustrated, guttural groan. Stupid. Ilaga snarls, as both she and Helmet ignite with a powerful blue aura, while Helmet, bewildered, questions the creature's intense rage. The draconic creature's face fills the frame, its yellow eyes burning with malice as it taunts Ilaga, asking if this human is the one she's been hyping up, then adds a chilling observation: males are most ferocious when they are in love, though. Cuckoo. Still taunting, Naho offers a little bit of Helmet to Ilaga, who fires back, saying the human tastes worse than the monster itself. Naho's eyes blaze with malevolent purple energy, gloating about how delicious the humans Ilaga prepares for it are. A faint purple aura now surrounds Helmet as a growing unease washes over him, a distinct smell hitting him hard. The air crackles with raw energy as Naho's presence intensifies, hitting the young man with a visceral shock. Suddenly, Helmet surges with purple energy, directly confronting the monster and demanding to know its connection to Darien. A single tear forms in his wide, distressed eye, the shock of the revelation hitting him like a truck. But before Naho can even react, Ilaga, now blazing with a fierce blue aura, lunges forward with a primal roar, claws out. The beast folk slams into the draconic creature, roaring about its filthy words, and Naho lets out a pained cry. Ilaga, now fully engulfed in brilliant blue energy, unleashes a furious assault, pushing the monstrous Naho back even as it taunts about preparing Ilaga's old friend's meat. Only months had passed since Helmet shattered the barrier, yet the figure amidst the burning stakes was already so unsettling, so strange, that wariness was the only logical response. But Ilaga, with a fierce blue glow, immediately shuts down any talk of Darien, declaring there's no relation whatsoever. So, he snarls, calling Naho a liar, and promising to absolutely obliterate the creature if he weren't holding back for some reason. Fangs flashing, the enraged beast promises to tear Naho limb from limb. Yet Naho, barely flinching from Ilaga's furious lunge, just cackles, brushing it off as a joke and insisting it has no desire to fight, considering their long history. Ilaga, however, isn't buying it, turning his head to press a more critical question: if Naho is truly so powerful, why can it only manifest in such a restricted state? He demands an answer. Naho, with a sneer, fires back, declaring Ilaga's furry presence in its territory an absolute nuisance. I don't like that at all, Ilaga deadpans, watching Naho's massive serpentine body start to retreat. And with a final, fading hiss, the purple-scaled menace vanishes, leaving Ilaga the undisputed victor. Helmet pushes through, a raw gasp escaping him in the oppressive darkness. But elsewhere, under a brilliant sky, Naho takes in a breathtaking view, a cryptic thought echoing through the peaceful expanse. Suddenly, the calm shatters. Naho's voice booms, cutting through the silence and directly calling out to Helmet. With eyes blazing in electric blue, Naho declares its own wariness, hinting at a hidden danger that keeps it rooted to this spot. But Helmet, ever the realist, counters with a stark truth about unpredictability, then decisively accepts the terms. Naho, ever perceptive, probes his sullen demeanor, urging him to master his emotions before they master him. Closing the distance with a predatory grace, Naho shrugs off his woes as mere youthful folly, then snaps his attention with a sharp command. A flicker of determination crosses Helmet's face, as he challenges Naho, asking if he has what it takes to reach its formidable power. Naho scoffs, turning its back with an air of absolute finality, declaring that mentorship is beneath it, a task far too tedious for its grand existence. He remembers Darien's wisdom about rest being part of the grind, but honestly, not swinging a sword. Super boring. Naho drops a truth bomb: her power level is just insane, something humans could never touch in a lifetime. His eyes snap wide open, absorbing every word. She's not sugarcoating it, it won't be easy, but there are definitely other paths to power. If he's seriously ready to level up. Naho tells him straight up, get out of this forest. A final, intense stare down. Then, as she casually strolls off, Naho drops another bombshell: someone's coming. Alone, he grips his hand, a new determination burning within him. Flashback to a pivotal moment. A grizzled mentor, with a majestic leopard draped over his shoulder, playfully calls out the creature's attachment to a young Darien. Then, turning to the young protagonist, he utters a single, familiar name: Darien. A simple command follows, suggesting it's time to head back. Darien, still a child, gazes with an intensity that belies his youth. The mentor begins to depart, but the majestic leopard's watchful eyes never leave Darien. Those piercing cyan eyes, full of ancient wisdom, hold a silent promise. And then, a voice, a powerful pledge: I'll watch over you. Young Darien's gaze, a silent acknowledgement of the powerful guardian's promise. Through a breathtaking, sun-kissed forest, young Darien journeys alongside the gray-haired man. With Ilaga, the majestic beast, trailing just behind, her intense eyes scanning the path ahead. Every step of her massive, spotted paws echoes with silent power on the forest ground. A guttural growl escapes him, teeth bared in sheer, unadulterated agony. Writhing in bed, Helmet clutches his gut, the searing pain threatening to consume him entirely. I think I might really die, he gasps, his mentors face a storm of worry. Helmet, eat this, the gray-haired man commands, thrusting a mysterious bowl forward, there's no other way. But what is this? A bundle of vibrant green, clearly identified as a deadly poisonous herb. With a desperate shove, the older man forces it down, and Helmet erupts, a violent, glowing torrent of yellow-orange energy blasting from his mouth. Clinging to the convulsing youth, the gray-haired man's eyes burn with fierce resolve, a silent promise to see him through, no matter the cost. Helmet's body seizes, a desperate cry tearing from him as the mysterious herb ignites, raw, yellow-orange power already sparking around his face. He lets out a primal scream, as a blinding, explosive wave of energy blasts from his body, his eyes burning with an otherworldly glow. The gray-haired man holds him tight, as Helmet thrashes, the man's voice cutting through the chaos, calling out his name. Flashback. Years ago, a younger Helmet stands on a cliff edge, the world laid out beneath him as he remembers Darien's wisdom about training and rest. He ponders the relentless march of time, muttering about 5 years, maybe even 4, since he last swung a blade in earnest. Suddenly, he's in a deep forest, a younger Helmet, a whirlwind of motion, his sword a deadly blur as he carves through the dense foliage. He slams his blade down with brutal force, smashing into a hulking, ape-like beast that bursts from the trees. In a single, fluid move, he keeps the pressure on, his body a coiled spring delivering another perfect hit. But honestly, he's kinda bored without a sword to swing. Meanwhile, Darien watches, sensing Helmet's actually starting to dig the whole training thing in this crazy medicinal cleanse. Helmet, ever eager, tells his mentor to bring on the next round, yo, Darien. He's swinging that wooden sword, green energy crackling around him, and he's feeling super light on his feet lately. And he's wondering if it's the herb he took or maybe just not eating enough. Darien shuts down the hunger theory, saying it's definitely the morning after vibe from the cleanse. Helmet gets it. Darien then drops the bomb. It's been months since he started purifying the demonic soil. Then calls out to him, stressing that this is exactly why he's become so incredibly strong. He points out that an untrained body couldn't handle the herb, basically telling Helmet to be thankful for his gains. He remembers Darien's intense words, even rest is part of the grind, but he's itching for action, bored without a blade. His mentor's voice cuts through, revealing that the true, next-level techniques were always waiting, and now, the real, brutal training is finally here. He steels himself, his eyes burning with resolve, as Darien's voice booms, alright, it's go time. Darien's gaze is locked on him, a silent challenge in his eyes. Then, in a blur of motion, Darien explodes into action. His form a whirlwind of raw power. His feet tearing at the ground, every muscle coiling with energy. Building to an explosive, pinpoint strike. A crack rings out, sharp and sudden, as a blinding golden aura erupts from his hand. Helmet is pushing it, every muscle screaming as he grinds through the training. But Darien's on another level, showing him how to channel that vis deep into his very being, controlling it, and then making it explode into reality. A blinding golden aura erupts around him, surging through his blade as he unleashes pure, concentrated power. With a final, earth-shattering move, he slams that energy down, making its raw power undeniable. Helmet's jaw drops, his mind blown as Darien lays it out, that's how you control this, and that's your new mission. Then, with a challenge in his eyes, Darien hands him a blade, alright, your turn. Take up your sword. Helmet springs into action, his sword already humming with power, as Darien pushes him, you'll be just as fast as me. Think on your feet, kid. They become blurs, a storm of speed and purpose, Darien's voice a sharp command, and move with intent. Lose that flow, and you're done for. Before Helmet can even blink, Darien's golden charged strike crashes into him, a brutal shockwave as his mentor snarls, forget about this. You're not ready. With a blinding golden surge from his hands, he roared that Helmet's body would shatter first. The blow slammed into him like a freight train, ripping a raw, guttural cry from his throat. His mentor's gaze was locked on, a predator's focus, the assault absolutely relentless. Helmet clawed forward, a desperate golden vis erupting around him, fighting to hold his ground against the sheer, crushing power. Then, a deafening, explosive impact, a supernova of light at the point of collision. He was ripped from the ground, catapulted backward like a ragdoll. He slammed into the earth, gasping for air, and screamed, demanding if his mentor was trying to end him as the gray-haired figure loomed closer. Towering over the fallen youth, Darien's voice cut like a whip, snapping that he didn't teach him weakness, commanding him to breathe. Despite the brutal exhaustion, Helmet forced himself upright, his eyes burning with renewed resolve as he tightened his grip on the staff. Helmet's face twists in pure agony, his eyes blazing crimson as he unleashes an explosive surge of power. Then, a brutal impact sends him rocketing skyward, a blur of motion against the forest canopy. Darien, ever the stoic master, observes the aerial acrobatics, dropping wisdom about harnessing raw power and truly feeling its surge. Helmet slams back down to the forest floor with a bone-jarring crash, a guttural cry of pain tearing from his throat. But like a phoenix, he rises, battered but unbroken, a fierce declaration escaping his lips, "There's no way I can be perfect." Darien, unfazed, simply retorts that this is just the beginning, and they'll keep grinding until it's done, no matter how long it takes. Without missing a beat, Darien unleashes another devastating blow, his hand blazing with electric blue energy as he blasts Helmet once more. The force slams into Helmet's arm, blue lightning crackling violently around the point of impact. Yet, through the relentless barrage, Helmet stands firm, his eyes locked on his master, refusing to yield. Swirling around him, a testament to his unyielding spirit. He's absolutely engulfed in a maelstrom of raw purple energy, a silent, powerful declaration of his unleashed might, with a chilling thought, our fears. The intense aura finally starts to fade, and he lets out a breath, but that unsettling thought still hangs in the air, our fears. Out in the desolate, snowy expanse, he stares at the ground, a heavy question weighing on him, was it worth your tears? His face is a mask of deep thought, completely absorbed in the silence after pushing his limits. His blade is stuck in the snow next to a log, and he's seriously debating, should I just call it a day for training? Just then, a voice cuts through the quiet, and Darien steps into view with a smirk, teasing, "Darien, were you watching me?" Then casually remarking, "You've definitely improved." Helmet, gripping his sword, scoffs at the compliment, "Better. I still feel like I'm nowhere near enough." Then he throws the question right back, "So, what about you, Darien?" Darien's face hardens, and he lays down the gauntlet, "Before that, let's see your VS first." Helmet immediately protests, "Nah, no way." But Darien isn't having it, firing back, "You pulled that stunt last time, saying you were lacking and ducking our duel." He finishes with a firm, "Just do it." Still pushing his limits, Helmet snarls in frustration, his violet eyes blazing with raw power as he clenches a mere stick. But Darien, ever the watchful mentor, sees that Helmet hasn't broken through yet, even as he's consumed by a furious purple energy, pushing past his limits. He knows deep down it's still not enough. Darien's mind races, Helmet's a prodigy, the best of humanity, yet he's still missing that one vital spark. Helmet, meanwhile, is gasping for air, pushing through the pain. Then, a flicker of realization crosses Darien's face, his eyes snapping open with a fierce resolve. Is it finally time for the real test? And just like that, Helmet snaps to attention, his violet eyes blazing with a fierce new resolve, the purple energy around him surging with controlled power. Winter's icy grip had descended, transforming the forest into a desolate, frozen expanse. Darien's voice cuts through the chill, telling Helmet, who cradles Ilaga, that his current strength won't cut it. Helmet's eyes widen, a silent question hanging in the air as he ponders if this is truly the moment. Darien's gaze intensifies, leaving no room for doubt, it's time to leave this forest, now. He lays it bare, if his current peak isn't enough, the divine badge trials will crush him. This is it, Darien insists, his voice demanding attention. Go, he commands, and the world will open up before you. Find the rest of the divine badges, Darien urges, there's a new, safe dungeon waiting. Get strong there, protect the world. Helmet's eyes burn with newfound determination. He remembers Darien's wisdom, even chilling out is part of the grind. But let's be real, without a sword to swing, he's just, bored. A human who can conquer the two-headed snake barrier. He thinks, that's next-level power. But someone actually did it, he realizes, his mind flashing to a shadowy figure in the distance. There's this crazy legend about the two-headed snake's protection, and the village chief Irudo is probably the guy with all the answers. Every legend has a root in reality, he ponders, his mentor's image still burned into his thoughts. And finally, the human world, where he's gonna feel everything, joy, pain, the whole spectrum. Only the chosen one can enter, he tells himself, only then can he truly unlock his power. He thinks about his mentor's silent, rock-solid presence, always there, never making a peep. You can't stop it, he decides, you can't escape it, because when that moment hits, it's gonna be a mix of forgetting and regretting everything. He's pushing through the absolute agony, the frustration, the regret, it's all part of the brutal training, pushing him to his limits. But he clenches his fist, a silent vow that no matter what, he will not lose himself. His mentor's voice rings in his ears, a stark warning he can't ignore. Later, facing the legendary white-haired Darien, Helmet gets hit with the classic mentor question, any questions? His hand tightens as he challenges Darien, you said you weren't coming with me, right? Darien's stare is intense. As Helmet walks away, Darien's voice cuts through the air, nothing else. I'm taking a nap. But then, with a sly grin, he drops the bomb, got something for you. Be back tomorrow morning. Darien watches him leave, a smirk playing on his lips as he mutters, seriously, no one's ever turned me down after all that. Helmet pushes on, his journey now taking him through a harsh, snow-dusted wilderness, each step a testament to his unwavering resolve. The grind never stops. He's still out there, pushing through the brutal, snow-blasted peaks, facing down the relentless cold. He's not just walking, he's conquering. Every step is a statement, a lone wolf dominating the icy, unforgiving landscape. But even a hero feels the weight of the world. Those intense violet eyes, they tell a story of inner turmoil, a battle fought in silence. Suddenly, a flash of white. His loyal companion, Ilaga, the majestic leopard, appears, those piercing cyan eyes watching his every move. He drops to her level, a raw question escaping his lips, "You don't trust me, do you, Ilaga?" It's a moment of pure connection, a silent conversation that speaks volumes about his inner struggle. He's made it. Standing before an ancient, glowing tree, he knows he's ready to make his mark, but then, that familiar, crushing feeling hits him. He can only manage, I feel. He's floating in a mental abyss, lost in a whirlwind of emotions. Complicated. I don't know why. The ultimate question hangs heavy in the air, why am I feeling like this? Ilaga's piercing cyan gaze locks onto the horizon, a profound realization dawning on her. This is the undeniable proof, she thinks, that he's evolving, becoming more human with every passing moment. A flicker of understanding crosses her face, a silent acknowledgement of his transformation. But the moment is broken as Helmet's hand moves with purpose, activating a hidden mechanism with a decisive click. Ilaga's eyes widen, her voice cutting through the air with a sharp, "Go." Without hesitation, he obeys, entering a shadowy, wooden chamber. His intense violet eyes immediately assess the space, absorbing every detail. And there, amidst a collection of formidable weapons, an imposing, gray-bearded elder sits in quiet anticipation. His face, a map of battles and wisdom, reveals a gaze of unyielding resolve. Helmet's mind flashes back, a name echoing in his thoughts, Darien, the one who taught him even rest was a weapon in his arsenal. But a strange feeling gnaws at him. And he can't shake the thought that without a blade in his hand, it all just feels boring. Elsewhere, the white-haired elder stands in silent anticipation. But Helmet's resolve hardens, his eyes burning with purpose, it's time to move. He strides into the austere wooden chamber, the grim-faced elder already there, a silent arsenal surrounding him. Helmet's eyes lock on, a fierce determination etched on his face, no turning back now. The elder's face, a mask of stern resolve, meets his gaze with an unblinking, piercing intensity. Helmet holds the stare, braced for the challenge ahead. A powerful flashback hits, revealing Darien's back as his voice booms with a chilling vow. Then, a.m. We're in a stark, snow-dusted forest, skeletal trees clawing at the sky. And there's Helmet, standing before a rustic cabin, Ilaga's deep rumble cutting through the icy air. Ilaga watches him, dropping the bombshell that a lifespan had ended, and Helmet's like, "You knew." The weight of a death hangs heavy, a secret Ilaga had kept. Helmet's face twists in pain, but Ilaga's like, "Dude, don't make that face." The wise beast lays down some truth, everything ends, so chill out, because a crying face is not a good look for a hero. Then, Ilaga lets out another deep rumble, snapping Helmet's focus, and he's like, "What was that?" Ilaga's electric blue eye glows as it commands him to check this out. And then, a hand, probably Helmet's, pulls out a gleaming golden locket. Ilaga reveals the locket, a dazzling piece of pure gold, a truly rare metal. Helmet takes the locket, and the inscription hits him, "Let there be light on your path." A powerful blessing. But wait, there's more. Below the blessing, another name is etched, Margaret Irene. Helmet's mind races, wondering if it's the leader's name, but Ilaga quickly sets him straight, it's probably her mother's. She adds a cryptic note, saying that as you get older, you get to meet her. But Ilaga's expression darkens, a deep worry in her voice, entering his territory means he'll come for them. But Helmet's eyes flash with determination, cutting her off, he'll handle it himself. Ilaga nods, then hits him with a gut-wrenching question, "Have you lost your only lover?" Helmet doesn't respond, just turns and walks away, leaving Ilaga to watch him disappear into the snowy landscape. He strides away, a silent vow echoing, live long. The massive beast watches him go, a quiet sigh escaping its powerful form. The frozen wilderness unfolds, and the beast's voice, a phantom echo, reaches him, "Oh, Helmet." His steps echo through the silent snow as he responds, "You take care as well." He presses onward, his path etched into the untouched snow. The frozen expanse slowly consumed by the deepening shadows. Finally, a grim, snow-choked village emerges from the gloom, its buildings collapsing into ruin, a solitary silhouette waiting amidst the decay. A chilling creak cuts through the air as the cloaked figure, a shadow made manifest, surveys its domain. Within a grimy, shadowed chamber, the cloaked figure looms over a bald, scarred man, who remains utterly silent, the air thick with unspoken tension. Then, the bald man's eyes snap open in pure terror as a hand, blazing with a soft, golden light, extends toward him, its power casting an eerie glow on his horrified expression. Terror flashes in the bald man's eyes, reflecting an intense, blinding light. The cloaked figure holds him captive from behind, their voice cutting through the silence with a chilling command, "Don't move." A game-like UI flashes, revealing the legendary helmet, the Forsaken Child, also known as Darien. But beneath the surface, a chilling truth emerges: black magic, an evil power, is about to be unleashed. This isn't just any magic, it's black magic, a truly evil power. Imagine a power so corrupt, it can turn even the most pathetic mage into a force to be reckoned with. This isn't your average spellcasting, it's something else entirely. But some mages, desperate for power, cross lines they were never meant to. They crave forbidden strength, no matter the cost. Driven by an insatiable hunger for power, a mage named Erugo, fueled by burning envy and jealousy, made a dark choice. Feeling inadequate, he plunged into black magic, and for his twisted rituals, he harvested the darkest human emotions as his fuel. The agony and terror he inflicted twisted Erugo into something truly monstrous. As he grew stronger, his horrific deeds couldn't stay hidden forever, and soon, the world discovered his crimes, leading to his capture and judgment. Given the ultimate choice, death or exile, he desperately chose exile, fleeing into the dreaded forest of roots to escape his fate. He finally faced the two-headed snake, striking a dark deal: submission and sacrifices for a place in its domain. With dark magic, he effortlessly rounded up humans and monsters, granting them twisted immortality just to fuel his gruesome sacrifices. This was the birth of the human farm, and Erugo, the black mage, crowned himself its king. As other humans were reduced to mere cattle, the real power, Naho, never once meddled with Erugo's dark deeds. Serving Naho, he now had an endless supply of sacrifices. But every winter, a chilling dread crept in, for when Naho hibernated, savage demonic beasts swarmed the farm daily. Yet, even amidst this constant danger, Erugo reveled in his new, twisted existence. "Damn it," he curses, winter's endless torment grating on his nerves, when a blade flashes into view, and a voice demands, "What do you want?" The gray-haired man cuts to the chase, revealing he knows Erugo holds the secret to navigating the forest of roots, demanding the method now, then adds with a chilling smirk, "You guys are happy for me, aren't you?" Erugo, his scarred face twisted in pure terror, demands to know if this is the guy, the one who actually took a disciple. Helmet, completely unfazed, just coolly retorts, "Why should that even matter?" The bald man, practically shaking out of his skin, screams that it matters because he's going to die if he doesn't get answers. Erugo then drops a chilling warning: if the Lord from the Forest of Roots awakens, everyone is toast, and that includes Helmet. Helmet, completely unbothered by the dire warning, scoffs, asking if Erugo actually thinks he cares about Lord Naho, then brutally reminds him he's just a human, and his thoughts are irrelevant. Erugo, eyes bulging with sheer terror, desperately tries to warn him not to provoke the Lord, but Helmet just shuts him down, telling him to cut the games. The bald man, now utterly desperate, screams that if Helmet falls, no one can stop the Lord, demanding to know how he can be so arrogant. Helmet coolly admits he's heard the rumors about the Lord, but declares he'll uncover the truth no matter what, even if he has to tear Erugo's entire life apart, because he's all about simplifying the process. Erugo's face twists into a silent, agonizing scream of pure terror, his eyes bulging with dread as Helmet's chilling words hit him. The scarred man, Erugo, can't help but admit Helmet's toughness, a grudging respect in his voice. But Helmet, with those piercing violet eyes, just stares back, unyielding. With a glinting sword now in hand, Erugo looms over Helmet, who, unfazed, simply holds his flickering candle, casting eerie shadows in the cavern. But amidst this tense exchange, a powerful revelation flashes across the screen: Helmet, the Foundation Child. The only sound now is the heavy, rhythmic echo of footsteps, cutting through the suffocating darkness. Helmet takes the lead, his silhouette cutting through the gloom as they plunge deeper down a treacherous, winding staircase, Erugo trailing just behind him. "None of your business," Helmet snaps, his voice cold and sharp, as Erugo simply walks away, a subtle clink echoing with each step. "I've learned quite a bit about you," Erugo remarks, his voice echoing in the dark. "The forest is deserted now, no one remains." Helmet's eyes fix forward, his face a mask of stone. "Given your presence here," he states, it's clear he has no intention of ever leaving. Erugo spins to face Helmet, his eyes narrowing. "To him," he presses, a flicker of shock in his voice. Erugo pushes, demanding answers from the silent figure. No response. Thinking he's got the upper hand, Erugo's hand shoots out, a chilling hee echoing in the dark. With a forceful "hand that over," he lunges, demanding compliance. Helmet's gaze turns icy, cutting through Erugo's bravado, questioning his understanding of the power he's been hiding. His eye flares with a subtle, violet light, a silent declaration as he utters a single word: nonsense. A devastating, invisible impact slams into Erugo, sending him flying back, his face twisting in agony as he screams, "Everyone else here is so weak." Scrambling, Erugo cries out, "I'll give you everything I have in this cave," only to be met with a dismissive, "I don't need what you have." Irugo, defeated, cries, I will surrender everything I have. But Helmet's blade is already out, aimed squarely at him. What if I don't want that? A final, heavy impact echoes as Helmet accepts the challenge, declaring, alright, if you insist, then there's no other way. Helmet is totally bored, even though Darien said chilling out is part of the grind. And this book Darien forced him to read before bailing. It's hinting that some things are just unavoidable, no matter what. But hold up, at the exact same moment, a majestic waterfall hints at a secret path, a way to totally ghost past some seriously tough monsters. But seriously, not swinging a sword is just boring, he thinks, as a chilling narration drops a bomb. Anyone who's seen that face would just turn to dust. Even though he can't stand Irugo, Helmet, with a chilling calm, announces he's gonna let him live. Helmet clamps down on Irugo's neck, dropping a cold truth bomb. Don't even think about your life. You're only alive because I let you be. A brutal lesson straight from Darien himself. Irugo's mind is instantly flooded with a monstrous, ash-inducing face, the very image the narration warned about. A gut-wrenching groan escapes him as Irugo crumples to the floor. Still on his knees, hands up in total surrender, Irugo lets out another choked cry, surrounded by silent figures. Towering over the broken man, Helmet drops the final verdict, Irugo's getting out, but only after some time, and he better not mess up again. He looms over the bound figure, who's still got the nerve to glare, practically screaming, you arrogant bastard. You think you can make it out of this forest alive? A smirk plays on his lips, a silent challenge. He just coolly drops the bomb, of course. The bald man is still totally helpless, tied to that stone pillar, his life hanging by a thread. Helmet's just chilling, thinking how boring it is without a sword to swing, while the bald man's eyes pop wide open in pure terror, a sinister purple energy starting to pulse around him. His face twists into a horrifying mask of pure fear and rage, as he lets out a guttural scream, vowing to crush something into tiny, tiny bits. The vision goes full-on nightmare mode, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs, Lord Nano. Please wake up. Inside his head, a dark, massive cavern pulses with creepy green symbols, a truly terrifying landscape of his mental breakdown. The ground beneath Irugo explodes, shattering into fragments as a terrifying purple energy bursts forth. And from the depths of his nightmare, a colossal, purple dragon beast, crackling with dark energy, claws its way out of the shattered ground. Its monstrous form fully manifests, engulfed in an intense, swirling vortex of pure, dark power. The beast unleashes a silent, soul-shattering roar, its entire form crackling with raw, malevolent energy. The hallucination goes into overdrive, blurring Irugo's entire world into a chaotic, purple maelstrom. Terrified, Irugo confronts the monstrous vision, his voice shaking as he screams, you wouldn't bring me up for trivial, petty things. And not at all. It's a grave matter. Helmet, ever the calm observer, watches the entire breakdown, a smirk on his face as he coolly states, I'm sure you'll understand it soon enough. But Irugo's terror only escalates, screaming, and his existence is right now. Darien. The mental assault crushes him, Irugo unleashes a guttural scream of pure agony, green energy exploding from his body while Helmet just watches. With a chillingly calm expression, Helmet just mutters, I see. The dragon beast hallucination rages on, its silent roar tearing through Irugo's sanity. The monstrous purple claw of the hallucination descends, a shadowy promise of utter despair. But with a sudden, explosive impact, the terrifying manifestation shatters into a storm of icy fragments. Trapped and suspended, Irugo can only scream, damn brat. A jagged, crystalline prison erupts around him, pulsing with dark power, as a chilling voice taunts, do you think you can escape, Darien? After this, you'll be like this? Irugo's face is a mask of pure terror, bloodied and broken, while below, Helmet's violet eyes glow with cold, absolute power, proclaiming, nothing's free in this world. His command rings out, sharp and final, brace yourself. Helmet freefalls through the inky blackness of the ancient forest, a ghostly glow tracing his rapid descent. He's moving so fast, a blinding white arc of power rips through a massive branch, shredding it to splinters. His grip instinctively locks onto his sword's hilt, every fiber of his being primed for impact. He slams into the ground, surrounded by a snarling pack of ghostly white wolves, a thought flashing through his mind, did I already take one out? One of the beasts lets out a blood-curdling shriek, its eyes blazing with pure, unadulterated rage. But then, it hits him, these aren't just demonic beasts, they're absolutely terrified of him. With an explosive burst of azure energy, he rockets skyward, leaving the cowering creatures in his dust. A relieved breath escapes his lips, as he realizes he's got to book it out of here, and fast. He's still tearing through the frozen forest, leaving a trail of pure, raw power behind him. His boots finally hit the frozen earth, a subtle blue energy flaring around his landing. He scans his surroundings, a frustrated sigh escaping him as he thinks, still stuck in this territory. Is this really all there is? A sharp TCH cuts through the air as he locks onto a shadowy form ahead, realizing this new player might already be deep in the game. His violet eye flares with raw power, locking onto the threat with deadly precision. Blazing with a furious crimson aura, he explodes forward, a whirlwind of pure destruction. But just as he's about to connect, a monstrous, shadowy claw bursts from the darkness, stopping him cold with an earth-shattering impact. The colossal, shadowy entity fully emerges, radiating pure menace, and its voice booms, "Greetings, child." Still defiant, he stands his ground as the monstrous entity warns him to leave its domain. With a determined gaze, he retorts that he can't kill a protected beast if it simply leaves. Before declaring his intention to beat it first. The multi-headed creature, its red eyes glowing, mocks his fragile human form. Its massive, clawed hand descends, purple energy swirling around it, as it declares resistance futile. The impact sends him reeling, a grunt escaping his lips. A colossal eruption of jagged purple crystal bursts from the ground, forming a towering pillar that pierces the dark sky. Lying defeated amidst the debris, he curses the overwhelming power of the roots. He remembers Darian's wisdom, that even rest is training, but the warrior in him is restless, itching for a blade. Then, the monstrous beast unleashes a terrifying roar, its purple power surging with an explosive burst. Helmet's eyes narrow, he's got to get his head in the game. Those glowing red eyes lock onto him, a silent, lethal threat. The pressure is crushing, but he fights it, forcing himself to stay calm. He needs to keep his head. This foe is powerful, he knows, but a chance will appear. But the monster isn't waiting. It charges a colossal orb of pink energy, its entire body blazing with power. It unleashes the devastating blast, a torrent of destructive power hurtling straight for him. Helmet braces, purple energy erupting around him, he's going to meet it head-on. He plunges downward, a blur of dark energy, a shadow streaking through the air. His form a streak of purple as he slams into the monstrous crystalline structures, shattering them with explosive force. His armored foot connecting with brutal force, sending shards flying. He continues his assault, a whirlwind of motion against the unyielding crystal, each strike a thunderous impact. Yet, even as his hand glows with concentrated power, he realizes the futility of his efforts against the impenetrable ice, his gaze drawn to the monstrous, glowing eye of the creature. "Hardly a spot where my ice can penetrate," he mutters, a new plan forming. The massive beast responds, its glowing purple eye narrowing slightly, as if acknowledging his shift in focus. "Right," it seems to hiss, a silent challenge. Helmet, now a focused projectile of dark energy, closes the distance with impossible speed, a purple streak aimed directly at his new target. His intent clear, a direct strike to the monster's vulnerable eye. In the eye, he declares, his resolve absolute. With a sickening crunch, his attack connects, green ichor erupting from the creature's wounded orb as the beast roars in pain. He curses, the situation hitting him hard. Is he really stronger, or is this just a delusion? But then, a spark ignites inside him. No way is he giving up now, not after everything. His only move. Escape, bust out of this impossible trap. The massive, snake-like monster towers over him, pulsing with dark power, and Helmet can only let out a furious "damn you." But curses turn to pure action. He lunges, smashing the monster's head with a purple-charged strike, a massive hit that barely phases the beast, making him yell, "You couldn't even deal with that." But the hit lands. Dark blood explodes from the monster. The monster screams, reeling back, its huge body stunned, giving Helmet a quick second to check the damage. Helmet's not done. He charges up, purple energy surging around him, ready to unleash another brutal attack and wipe out this monster. He's a purple blur, moving at insane speed, pounding the wounded monster with relentless fury. A blinding flash of white energy erupts, absolutely crushing the monstrous entity with devastating force. Sending its massive, serpentine form reeling through the air. Its purple scales shimmering amidst the chaotic energy. The monster snarls, its voice a guttural rumble, furious that its opponent had managed to hide after getting hit by that attack. It then muses on its own injury, realizing that since it had lost a leg, it would be harder for the human to escape. Its glowing purple eyes narrow in pure rage, cursing that damned child, who dared to wound it. Meanwhile, Helmet struggles to catch his breath, his face streaked with sweat and pure exhaustion. Clutching his knife, he questions his own capabilities, wondering if all he can do at this point is slash at its feet. Despite his injuries, a grim determination sets in, knowing he must stall for time, for this is his only chance to survive and escape. He chokes, the monster's demonic energy absolutely crushing him. As the suffocating purple aura swirls relentlessly around him. A guttural voice rips through the air, "Finally found you. Disgusting child." Helmet lets out a sharp, pained grunt, his exhaustion hitting him hard. The monster's power absolutely explodes, crackling with raw, destructive energy. As it unleashes a terrifying, ear-splitting roar from its gaping maw. His hands are shaking uncontrollably, barely holding onto his sword, a vivid memory of the bald man's desperate words, "I can't." But even on the brink, Helmet's resolve burns brighter, a fierce refusal to just die here. His eyes, blazing with pure resolve, lock onto something unseen. And then, his entire body explodes with a vibrant blue and white aura, cosmic particles going absolutely wild around him. The transformation goes into overdrive, his entire being consumed by a dynamic, pulsating field of blue and purple energy, unleashing an insane surge of magic. Then, out of nowhere, a voice booms, dropping the chilling line, "Long time NOC." The purple snake monster, its eyes burning with an eerie glow, hisses out a single, ominous name, Ilaga. And just like that, a colossal white feline beast with piercing blue eyes materializes, its spotted fur practically vibrating with raw power. And then, another voice, totally different from the last, snaps, "Naho." A blinding, explosive surge of energy rips through the void. Then, from the heart of the chaos, Ilaga bursts forth, its colossal frame absolutely seething with a vibrant, electric blue aura, crackling with untamed power. The very earth groans under the sheer force as the creature slams a foot down. And a desperate, choked cry rips from Helmet's throat as he locks eyes with the monstrous Ilaga. Ilaga stands, a terrifying silhouette, its glowing markings practically burning with malevolent intent. A searing, agonizing pain explodes through his arm, a brutal testament to Ilaga's demonic, overwhelming power. But even with his arm screaming, he refuses to break, clenching his jaw and defiantly roaring back at the monster. Still, the brutal truth hits him hard, the damage is severe, his arm now a dead weight, practically useless. Helmet, sword in hand, is absolutely primed for battle, a warrior ready to unleash hell. His eyes lock on, a powerful voice reverberating within, a mantra for the fight ahead, "Your freedom." A defiant snarl twists his features, a challenge to the very idea, but Ilaga, a titan of raw, crackling blue power, dominates the space, and the voice screams, "Go now." But Ilaga is faster, a colossal tentacle crashing down with devastating force, and Helmet is rocked, the blows sending a jolt of agony through him. Even after taking a hit, he stares down the monstrous Ilaga, a fierce determination burning in his eyes as he mutters, "Thank you." And just like that, Helmet explodes into action, his blade a blur as it carves into Ilaga, a devastating strike that makes the monster's blue aura ripple violently. But Ilaga is far from finished. Its tentacles erupt with an even more intense, crackling blue energy, preparing to unleash an absolute torrent of destruction. A guttural roar of pain rips from Ilaga, its massive form reeling from Helmet's last devastating blow. The sound tearing through the air as its purple eyes blaze with agony and a terrifying, building rage. Then, with a thunderous, enraged roar, Ilaga explodes with fury, its voice shaking the very ground, "Filthy cat. How dare you invade my territory?" But Helmet, in his fierce white leopard form, stands unfazed, his resolve absolute, his glowing blue eyes locked on the raging beast as he coolly declares, "I'm just doing what I need to do." Ilaga's mocking laughter echoes, its purple aura surging with contempt, as it sneers, "Kukuku. Kahia ahaha. What are you doing, foolish one?" The monster's voice drops to a chilling, murderous growl, "I'll kill you right here and now. You think that beast?" Helmet's blue eyes gleam with defiance, a dangerous challenge in his voice as he fires back, "Do you think you can achieve that with your power? Let's see." And with that, Ilaga explodes forward, a torrent of raw purple energy ripping through the air behind its monstrous form. Only to be met head-on by Helmet, whose own blue aura erupts in a blinding, earth-shattering flash as the two titans collide in an epic explosion. After the earth-shattering impact, a colossal, purple-scaled beast lies defeated, a testament to the sheer power unleashed. The raw energy of the clash still pulses, a blinding purple aura slowly dissipating into the void. Then, an eerie calm falls. He takes in the devastation, a weary breath escaping him as he processes the aftermath. After a brutal exchange in Ilaga's domain, he's been relentlessly pursued for days, leaving a trail of fallen monsters in his wake. Is this nightmare finally ending? But until he reaches Naho's league, the fight rages on, and he'll keep tearing through monsters, no problem. His gaze, sharp with determination, hints at a profound realization, a single, potent thought, if. Helmet is chilling in a lush forest, a crystal-clear river rushing by, when a sick white leopard creature with glowing blue eyes just stares him down. He's thinking about Darian's wisdom, how even resting is part of the grind. But honestly, just chilling without a sword in his hand? It's kinda boring. He keeps moving through this insane, vibrant landscape, past a roaring waterfall, telling himself to get out of this forest already. He just stops, thinking about what's next, a quiet, escaping him. Then, out of nowhere, a soft purple glow bursts from his hand, reacting to the sheer divine energy around him. He realizes this isn't just some pretty spot, it's overflowing with divinity. Good thing he's been keeping his true power on the down low, it's been a massive secret. Then, a stunning white feather, shimmering with gold and red, just floats down from the sky, right into his open hand. He snaps his head up, totally shocked, as this massive bird creature, wings blazing red and gold, swoops down on him, its power is just off the charts. Helmet drops to a knee, completely floored by this creature's aura, his face screaming pure shock. The epic bird being, its glowing yellow eyes locked onto him, speaks in an ancient, booming voice, asking if he's just some human kid. A colossal, feathered titan descends, its massive talons slamming down, demanding to know who dares trespass in its domain. Helmet's face twists in frustration, that black mage played him like a fiddle. And now, a demonic barrier has been thrown up around the sacred divine one. Unbelievable. The majestic beast, Igrel, then cuts straight to the chase, demanding his name. Helmet, recognizing the legendary name, finally reveals his own. North Igrel, the ancient ruler, stares him down, declaring that he's been hiding his true power. And warns him to confess or face the consequences, as Helmet's hand flares with that mysterious divine energy, leaving him questioning his own identity. Igrel's glowing eye narrows, sensing an even fainter, ancient aura, finding the whole situation incredibly intriguing. Later, alone on a windswept coast, gazing at the endless sea, he grapples with Igrel's final, cutting question, is he a liar, or just a fool? Igrel, the colossal bird-like entity, keeps up the pressure, declaring that if this is true, then Ilaga's whole family has straight up invaded its territory, right? The massive bird creature then drops a bombshell, proclaiming it's no regular bird and they absolutely need to talk. Helmet's face hardens, knowing he's gotta chill out. Igrel keeps pushing, its voice booming, demanding to know what it's doing that could possibly matter to him. The creature's eyes bore into him, drilling in the question, meaningful to me? Helmet, now totally calm, confirms, yeah, this is the perfect chance to get my curiosity satisfied, because he's gonna cross that mountain, and to make it happen, he's wiping out the entire forest for good. He lets out a dismissive ft, then erupts into a wild, booming laugh. He stands tall against the colossal bird-like entity, his words dripping with defiance as he brushes off its warnings about a weak human child and the seed of darkness within him. His eyes burning with resolve, he throws down the gauntlet, asserting that he alone possesses the power to overcome any obstacle. The colossal bird-like entity absolutely dwarfs him, its sheer scale a testament to its ancient power. But the entity isn't backing down, issuing a chilling reminder of the ancient rules that govern its domain. Yet, he remains unfazed, a powerful, shimmering aura igniting around him, as he coolly declares that he's about to rewrite the rules. The ancient entity's piercing gaze widens in shock, a rare moment of genuine surprise etched onto its face. With his power flaring, the entity concedes his cunning, but delivers a chilling prophecy of the price he'll pay. He pivots, leaving the powerful entity behind, and boldly states his departure from the forest, daring it to interfere with his survival. Perched on a towering cliff, gazing out at the endless canopy, he reaffirms his audacious plan to take out the entire forest to conquer the mountain, his resolve absolutely unshakable. He remembers Darien's wisdom, rest is part of the grind. But without a sword in his hand, he's just bored. Igrel, the ancient bird-like entity, cuts in, offering a deal, fine, I'll show you how to escape. I'll even shield you through the barrier. It's yours, take it. Helmet, with a glint in his eye, retorts, just tell Ilaga I made it out, and I'm gone. Igrel's gaze sharpens, and Helmet leans in, which means, no matter what, I'm taking it down. Igrel's eyes widen, a hint of disbelief in its voice, you mean my forest, right? The ancient entity's voice booms, I'll tell Ilaga exactly what you said. This is Ilaga's special child. A fierce glint in his eyes, he lets out a defiant, "Humph." Bubbles surge, hinting at the chaos to come. Before Helmet, arms wide, faces a colossal, glowing water barrier, his one shot at freedom. Then, with a thunderous splash, he dives headfirst into the abyss. His eyes snapping open beneath the surface, burning with resolve. The currents rage, twisting into a monstrous, shadowy form that roars from the depths. But even as chaos erupts, his gaze remains locked, unwavering. Fighting every inch against the crushing, impacting forces of the torrent. One thought screams through the pressure, get out. His will solidifies, a burning vow to break free from the forest of Frosta. Helmet is absolutely swallowed by a torrent of purifying divine power, a force designed to shield humanity, and it's ripping right through him. The pain is absolutely unbearable, a torment he's never felt before, his eyes now blazing with electric blue energy as he lets out a primal scream, grappling with the twisted reality of demonic beasts becoming human and himself becoming a demonic beast. Barely clinging to consciousness, he's left with one burning question, where does he even go from here? A mysterious golden pendant, radiating a faint, otherworldly glow, floats amidst shimmering particles, hinting at hidden power. The caravan keeps rumbling, and he's already over it, slamming his hand on the wheel with a frustrated shit. They're deep in the forest of scope, a massive caravan pushing through as the sun dips below the horizon. One guy's already complaining about resting here, but Pin's quick to shut him down, reminding him how gross sweaty clothes get. Meanwhile, a nervous merchant frets, worrying about fighting demonic beasts, even goblins, when everyone's already worn out. Pin's temper flares, getting into a shouting match with a purple-haired woman, the tension palpable. With daylight fading fast, the group is pushed to hurry, the looming darkness adding pressure to their desperate trek. Suddenly, a bone-chilling vibe hits the forest path, screaming that something is seriously wrong. Close by, Pin's just trying to keep it chill, telling a nervous caravan member they should just snag some water and bounce back to the crew. But then, the young guy spots something totally messed up on the ground, a weird chunk of hair stuck in a rock, and he's like, what in the world is this? His eyes snap to a body sprawled out on the path, and the silence is absolutely deafening. Pure, unadulterated terror floods the young caravan member, his face twisting into a mask of horror as he chokes out a gasp. His scream rips through the quiet autumn forest, absolutely demolishing the peaceful vibe. Dropping to his knees in total shock, the young guy keeps yelling, what the heck just happened? Pin, totally freaked by the noise, asks if he saw a ghost, but the terrified kid just points, stuttering, dude, there's a dead body. As the rest of the caravan rolls up, Helmet's like, let's just head back to the main crew, while someone else worries about a trap, but Pin's firm, they have to go back and check it out. Pin is hyped to get that bucket back, practically ordering his companion to lead the charge. He's still on the hunt, convinced it's right here, a frustrated Yujihich ripping from him as he searches. But Darien, ever the cautious one, tries to warn Pin about the forest's dangers, yet Pin is having none of it, absolutely refusing to abandon the bucket. Then, bam. His eyes lock onto something in the distance, and he shouts, pointing out his find. They close in, finding the bucket, but also a chilling scene, a body sprawled out by a dying fire, the forest's whispers echoing around them. Pin's face twists in pure shock, while Helmet, ever the realist, confirms the grim truth, it's a dead body. Pin bolts forward, catching Helmet off guard, dropping to his knees beside the body with a desperate cry. But just as Pin's about to lose it, Helmet snatches him back, dropping a bombshell, that body isn't dead. A frustrated sigh escapes him as the man finally stirs, while Pin, ever the warrior, laments the boredom of rest without a blade in hand. The man's eyes snap open, disoriented and desperate, his mind racing to piece together where he is and if he's truly escaped the dreaded forest of scope. But Helmet, ever the calm professional, assures him of his safety, revealing that his companion had written him off for dead. Pin watches, a silent observer to the unfolding mystery. The man, still reeling, manages to utter Helmet's name, then desperately asks for any other clues to his past. Helmet, however, has no answers, finding the man's complete memory loss deeply unsettling, pressing him to recall even his own name. Then, a breakthrough. The man declares himself Yana, a B-rank mercenary, a master of both blade and negotiation. Helmet grasps Yana's hand, a stark realization dawning, another human, just like him. Yana seeks understanding, but Helmet, with a simple, stark admission, reveals he has none. Helmet surveys the scene, the grim reality of their location hitting him, declaring it the decay forest. He notes the man's memory loss is profound, a stark indicator of the ordeal he's endured. Yana's mind races, a desperate void where his past should be, as he fights to remember even his own name. Then, a sudden, primal instinct surfaces, a declaration that he knows how to wield a sword. Helmet's tension visibly eases, a profound sense of relief washing over him at this crucial revelation. Helmet quickly assesses the situation, confirming Yana's physical stability, but insists on a head check, vowing to get him back on his feet. With unwavering determination, Helmet takes charge, declaring Yana his personal responsibility. Under the fading light of dusk, a new journey begins, as Helmet shoulders Yana, Pin by his side, forging ahead into the unknown. Autumn's fiery embrace blankets the wilderness, a breathtaking, yet challenging, path ahead. After countless miles, a much-needed break, Helmet collapses onto a rock, a heavy sigh escaping him. He'd just barely made it out alive. But full recovery would take time, especially since the weed of undoing he thought was gone, was still very much present. If he'd absorbed the whole thing, he'd be toast. And in this crazy world, he had no clue what kind of power he was about to unleash. But first, he had to find the owner of this mysterious locket. No rushing, he decided, just a slow, steady climb. This was just the beginning. Meanwhile, Pin and the bald guy were totally stunned, with the bald man recognizing him as that scraggy guy from yesterday. He's been totally different since absorbing the weed of undoing, Pin exclaims, pointing out that the man's mana is now completely off the charts, like some kind of monster. Yana, the bald man, questions if it's the weed of undoing or if this is his real power finally breaking through, as a mysterious woman with dark hair takes it all in, her face giving nothing away. But Pin's mind is on other things, wondering if the guy's a noble or from some rich family, finding the whole situation super interesting. Strolling through the woods, Tanya, the dark-haired woman, cuts Pin off, declaring his status irrelevant, then hits him with a direct question, ever heard of my mercenary squad? Pin's never heard of them, so Tanya just drops the bomb, she's the leader of the whole mercenary squad. Then, she pivots to Pin and Yana, demanding to know if they've fed the guy enough and if they're prepped to roll out, like, now. Pin lets out a massive groan, totally fed up with Tanya's sudden command. Tanya barks at them to hustle and get ready, announcing they'll hit a village in 4 days and they'd better follow her lead until then. She finishes by declaring that once they arrive, they'll all see the man's real power, as Helmut keeps trekking through the fall forest, a cart rumbling behind him. The journey presses on, and a voice cuts through the air, "I'll introduce you to a doctor." Helmut's face tightens, a bead of sweat betraying his inner turmoil. Pin, clearly enjoying the moment, playfully pats Helmut's head, a smirk on his face as he declares, "You're replying well." With their steed ready and waiting, Pin shouts, "We're leaving soon." The air crackles with anticipation, met by a subtle, unspoken acknowledgement. With the call to move out, Helmut and Pin are poised, ready to hit the road and face whatever comes next. Pin's worried, asking if Helmut's even gonna be okay. He thinks Helmut's being way too cautious, warning him this journey is gonna be tough. But as they keep moving, Pin's like, "Nah, I gotta walk to stretch out." Their trusty horse just keeps on trotting. Helmut takes a moment, then just quietly agrees with Pin. He reaches out to the horse, commenting on how chill it is. But Pin's totally weirded out by how Helmut talks, like, what does "definitely around my age" even mean? He keeps watching Helmut, sensing there's something holding him back. Helmut's just deep in thought, as usual. The journey grinds on, and Pin, ever watchful, casts a look back at Helmut, who just keeps walking. Seeing his friend struggling, Pin offers, "Dude, I'm totally out of breath. Just hop on the horse, I'll carry you until you're good to go." But Helmut just lets out a weary sigh, muttering, "Fine, do as you like then." Pin's mind races, seriously, this guy just doesn't care about himself. Then, a jolt of unexpected anger hits him, wait, why am I even mad? Deep in a dark forest, Helmut strides on, a thought echoing in his mind, I've never needed more than a day to bounce back. Ever. A flicker of something crosses his face as he simply thinks, well. Footsteps crunching, they press on, Helmut's inner monologue firm, yeah, I'm sure it's just because I'll keep moving. Meanwhile, in a cozy, rustic room, an old man breathes a sigh of relief, so glad you're back. I was seriously worried you'd gotten lost. The woman next to him explains, he just had a ton of stuff to do, so he took off earlier. An old man absolutely loses it, his voice exploding as he confronts a young woman about a proposal, flat out refusing to accept her marriage. He keeps yelling, demanding a proper proposal, but she, absolutely fuming, just calls him a quack. The old man scoffs, totally dismissing the insult and defending the guy's crazy fast recovery, saying he just heals super quick, no doctors or meds needed. He doubles down, saying no medicine would even work, just telling her to take her own meds and get better already. Muttering about, damn brats, he just keeps grumbling, still totally ticked off by her insult. But the young woman's face twists into pure fury, her teeth grinding as she explodes, calling him a crazy old geezer. With a desperate scream, Tanya takes off, yelling for someone to stop her as she smashes right through a door. Outside, the old man turns to Helmut, worriedly asking if he's really okay, because Pin said he was having trouble just walking. Helmut quickly reassures him that he's totally fine now, even though he vaguely remembers hearing someone screaming nearby. Chillin' by the river, he's totally thinking about Darian's wisdom, even chilling out is part of the grind, but honestly, he's just bored out of his mind. His boots scuff the ground, a restless energy just bubbling under the surface, and he's ready for something to happen. Out of nowhere, Tanya pops up, a confident smirk on her face, dropping a challenge like it's hot, want a duel. He's kinda shocked, but she's like, nah, I'm just bored, let's fight. No pressure, just pure boredom driving her. She throws out her hand, basically saying, come on, we got nothing else to do till tomorrow. He's totally weighing his options, deep in thought. And just so you know, Tanya. She's a rank S silver medal mercenary, a total powerhouse. A small smile creeps onto his face, and he's like, alright, let's do this. He's ready, thinking this is his chance to truly test his limits. But in the arena, a muscular fighter winds up for a massive hit. Only to be utterly blindsided by an invisible force, getting absolutely rocked. Helmut, witnessing the sheer speed, turns to the formidable woman, wondering if she's just here for a quick warm-up. He then asks if she's here to duel Tanya. As Tanya ruthlessly taunts the downed fighter, declaring it was too easy, she barely saw his face. The fighter, in a daze, somehow gets enraged, defending Tanya's honor. Before he can even process it, another lightning-fast strike disarms him, his weapon flying. Tanya just lets out a dismissive humph. Then delivers the final, crushing blow, sending him flying into the dirt. A vibrant, orange-haired woman confidently declares her rank as vice-captain, her youthful looks belying her authority, as the formidable Tanya, with her piercing gaze, coolly confirms her own vice-captain status. Helmut, focused, tightens his grip on the wooden sword, acknowledging he's not at peak performance, but he's not about to pull any punches, certain his current power is enough to win while staying safe. He takes his stance, a silent command to himself, stay sharp. The crowd buzzes with excitement, hyped by his posture and ready for the show to begin. Suddenly, it's on. Helmet and Tanya explode into action, their blades a blur of impact. Tanya's strike is lightning fast, a direct hit to his left waist as he barely gets his guard up. She unleashes a devastating, glowing attack, her every move radiating raw power. Helmet is sent absolutely soaring from the impact, a crushing realization hitting him, she's on a whole other level. He crashes down, utterly defeated, as a bystander gasps, barely able to follow the blur of the fight. She's already analyzing, thinking. Tanya's speed is absolutely insane, forcing him to flinch back with a lightning-fast dodge. And she connects with a brutal punch, a sickening thud echoing. But even as she dominates, a frustrated curse rips from her, realizing. Her relentless assault keeps coming, making him feel like he's drowning, and she just scoffs, thinking. Tanya seizes the opening, unleashing a whirlwind of staff attacks. Until Helmet finally crumbles, gasping for breath, his weapon exploding into pieces beside him. And with one last, brutal kick, Tanya delivers the knockout blow, sealing his fate. Tanya's face contorts in a flash of pure frustration, a silent, damn it, echoing her inner turmoil after the fight. Her finishing move sends Helmet flying, crashing to the ground with a resounding thud, as the dust settles. The surrounding mercenaries are absolutely floored, their faces a canvas of pure shock and disbelief at what they just witnessed. Tanya stands victorious, a silent, imposing figure over her fallen foe, Helmet sprawled on the ground, utterly defeated. A steely determination hardens her gaze as she utters a quiet, of course. She dives deep into her thoughts, a stark realization hitting her. Ever since that crushing defeat, she'd been subconsciously dodging tougher fights, completely betraying her own mission to get stronger. Pin helps a dazed Helmet up, exclaiming, "Dude, that was a pretty good fight, seriously." Meanwhile, the orange-haired vice captain eyes Tanya, thinking, wait, is Tanya even stronger than I thought? Her internal monologue deepens, recalling Darian's wisdom about respecting the body's limits, and she steelily resolves to compensate for her past complacency, having conquered not just a rank 1, but a formidable rank 2. Helmet, back on his feet, gazes at Tanya with utter admiration, proclaiming, "Tanya, you're the only one who can take our guild to the next level." The vice captain chimes in, "You're our last hope to bring us back." Helmet can't help but admit Tanya's power is insane, claiming she could have crushed him if she went all out. Pin, totally blown away, chimes in that she's on a whole other level compared to Finn. But then, out of nowhere, a new challenger steps up, coolly stating his name is Fien. This guy isn't just anyone, he's a captain from the elite rank 2 face mercenary guild. Helmet's chilling by the river, thinking about Darian's training advice, but honestly, it's a snooze fest without a blade to swing, when suddenly, a voice booms, "Good work, Helmet. You crushed the entrance exam." Now he's standing with a whole squad of hardened mercenaries, looking ready for anything. Tanya's face is intense, clearly processing this exam revelation. Pin lays it out, they tested him because they were thinking of bringing him into the crew. Helmet's locked in, listening to another mercenary's words. Tanya's eyes drop, the realization hitting her, that's why no one else has dared approach her or Pin. She just sighs, "I see." Pin, looking a bit annoyed, points out that Helmet, unlike some other creeps, actually had no issues and didn't try to hit on his sister, Tanya. Helmet's already on the move, a voice from off-screen confirming the deal is done, they're letting him go. Now, he's off to find his own mercenary crew, his current ID just a temporary placeholder. He stands amidst the crowd, a powerful wave of trust washing over him. No matter what, Helmet is our ally. Everyone trusts him. Elsewhere, the mercenary world buzzes with introductions, as one declares, "My name is Byrne. I'm a rank 3 silver mercenary," and his partner chimes in, "And I'm Uter." Same, rank 3. A blonde mercenary, Maros, a rank 3 silver, stands with Sean, who's already questioning the new guy's threat level. "Seriously, do we need to worry? Finn's just a rank 3 anyway." The blonde mercenary, stepping forward, clarifies his status, "Alright. I'm a rank 4. Finn." Helmet, haunted by Darian's stark warning against trusting humans, grapples with the concept of ally and questions if this path is truly safe. Meanwhile, Pin, his face etched with concern, asserts, "Pin, I need to confirm something important." Tanya and Pin delve into the implications, Tanya conceding, leaving the guild isn't the real issue, but then finally agreeing, "Alright." Helmet, striding forward, a paper in hand, reveals, "The guild master actually gave me a temporary ID." Leaving the others behind, he mutters, "And, there's still so much I need to know." A group of mercenaries stands together, deep in conversation about their alliances. "I said it's an important mission," a voice booms, a hand slamming the table with force, "it's not every day rank 4 mercenaries get to join in." Around a large wooden table, several mercenaries stand while Helmet sits, taking in the intense discussion. We already accepted him over some errand boy from your request, one snaps, and now you're going to act like this? A mercenary with a confident smirk and a scar over his eye fires back, this guy's going to be useful for miles. We've been through a lot, you know we don't bring just anyone back. The leader, a man with a neatly trimmed mustache, eyes him with a worried expression. You better take responsibility for those words. Since you're the face of this squad, I'll allow it, just this once. The scarred mercenary grins confidently, thank you, sir. It's no big deal. But since it's an important mission, I'll be with him. The mustached leader considers this, then agrees, all right, since it's 7 in the morning tomorrow. Yes, I'm aware. A soft click from a closed wooden door. As Pin leans back, a sigh of relief escaping him. Phew, that went well. He confirms the mission details, no problems. Mission confirmed for 7 a.m. Even if we're not directly involved, this is huge, so everyone needs to be ready. His gaze shifting to Helmet. But rank trading? That's a whole other beast to prepare for. Pin admits his uncertainty about the opponent's strength. Honestly, I'm not even sure what we're doing, so figuring out their strength is impossible. Just get some sleep tonight, Helmet. Leaving Helmet with a lingering question. Pin then reminds the scarred mercenary of his earlier words, you vouched for his good sense. Alright, that's it for tonight. See you tomorrow morning. As night falls over the quiet town. Helmet stands alone, his thoughts consumed by the impending mission. Helmet, recalling Darian's wisdom that even rest is training, can't shake the restless energy, he's itching for action, his sword arm craving a challenge. He's already strategizing, thinking he needs more devastating openers, but a nagging doubt about his speed lingers, fueling his desire for mastery as raw blue energy ignites around his weapon. That burning desire for new techniques propels him, his figure a mere streak of motion across the barren wasteland. His face sets in a grim mask of resolve, utterly convinced that his current power isn't enough. He realizes he can't just rely on his sword's raw power forever, and with a decisive move, he turns to head back. A streak of blue energy as he blazes a path. Under the cloak of night, he strides through the silent town, a wave of doubt washing over him about where he truly belongs. But elsewhere, the real battle has already kicked off. Pin, radiating intensity, stresses the mission's critical nature and demands absolute vigilance, confirming that their scouts have already spotted enemy forces on the move. Tanya, along with Yuter, Byrne, and the rest of the hardened mercenaries, affirm their readiness, their eyes fixed on the coming storm. Pin points, his face dead serious, laying down the law for the squad. He reminds them this morning was brutal, and some blonde dude is already complaining about the early start. Helmet, eyes locked, just brushes off the whining. Ready to endure anything thrown his way. But Pin just grins, a playful smirk on his face, hinting that this is only the warm-up for their real combat missions. The blonde guy forces a laugh, and the entire mercenary squad starts rolling out. A mustached leader checks in. Passing a document to Pin and Helmet, and putting the blonde guy on rear guard. Helmet then pivots to the blonde, now known as Finn, telling him to get his squad to the back. Suddenly, a sharp voice snaps, "Yo, scrawny boy. What are you even looking at?" The blue-haired leader, looking seriously annoyed, lays into him, blasting him for being too scrawny to even lift a sword. And he doesn't stop there, doubling down and telling both of them they can barely hold a sword. Helmet, ever the stoic, just takes it in, but inside, he's thinking, do they really think I'm on bad terms with him? Or are they just trying to size us up? The leader, still lecturing as they move, makes it crystal clear, he's not going to be easy on them. He drives the point home, declaring that whether they're rookies or veterans, it makes no difference to him. Taking in the busy town around them, Helmet knows he'll have to stay sharp. Fast forward a few days, and with a soft goop, the journey continues. Finn, still messing up, groans, confessing he's constantly making mistakes and feels like such an idiot, then laughs it off. He screams in pure frustration, absolutely fed up with every single mistake. But his leader isn't having it, demanding to know how long this pathetic performance will last, completely shutting down his accident excuse. The leader's words hit like a hammer, if you're weak, you're getting left behind. No mercy. Finn is utterly crushed, lying on the ground as the leader looms over him, delivering the brutal truth, compared to him, Finn is absolute garbage. Across the camp, Tanya lays down the law, threatening to throw someone straight onto the streets, her intensity palpable. Her piercing stare holds, the air thick with unspoken tension. Byrne watches Finn's pathetic state, muttering that he's been like this since day one of the expedition. While the scarred mercenary nervously wonders if they should keep poking the beast. But Helmet? He's already calculating his next move, eyeing that rank B weapon, knowing he's temporarily way stronger than his rank E, and ready to absolutely dominate a few more enemies in this dungeon. Still reeling from his recent failures, Finn recoils as a furious voice tears into him, screaming about his arm technique and dropping a death threat if he dares to talk back. Meanwhile, watching the whole mess unfold, Finn lets out a furious MPH, and curses his brother's screw-ups. He can't believe Finn's struggling with mere orcs, but he's ready to kick him out if he makes another scene. His thoughts race, realizing his brother is no brotherly type, he's even worse than the mustached leader. And what's with his totally out-of-character behavior today? As Finn's thoughts turn murderous, the mustached leader has Finn by the collar, Tanya's watching, and Burn, Uter, and the scarred mercenary are all just standing there, taking in the brutal scene. Burn and Uter, plus another mercenary, are totally shocked, their faces screaming, what just happened? Elsewhere, a fist clenches tight. And Helmet's eyes blaze with electric blue energy, his face twisted into a silent, furious snarl. He's absolutely seething, promising to unleash a side view of his true strength. A sleek system screen pops up, revealing the stats for Helmet, the Forsaken Child, showcasing his raw power and current level. Suddenly, a mercenary leader unleashes a furious UGH, her eyes blazing with purple energy as she screams about going absolutely insane from the constant monster attacks. 3 days straight of non-stop fighting. The mercenaries are baffled, how can these monsters just keep coming without a single break? A blonde-haired mercenary grumbles, does this mean we'll never get a life? He's totally confused why a rank D dungeon is spitting out rank B monsters, convinced something seriously weird is going on. Tanya's face hardens, admitting everyone's getting super nervous, especially since they can't even tell what's real anymore, calling the Emperor's silence a total joke. Burn cracks his knuckles, declaring that if those monsters dare show up again, he's going all out and making them pay big time. Just as he promised, Burn and Tanya explode into action, tearing through the monster horde with a brutal barrage of strikes. Tanya's eyes ignite with a fierce purple glow, unleashing a raw burst of power as she winds up for a crushing attack. She smashes a monster with a brutal hit, grumbling about how hard it is to level up and wishing she was just chilling at home playing video games. Helmet strides along the river, his mind already calculating the next move. This zone's tapped out, it's time to level up and find a new hunting ground. He mutters to himself, just how long until he can finally hit rank 3 and unleash his true power. The river rushes past, a constant reminder of the relentless grind. But just as he's lost in thought, a voice shatters the peace, making Pin jump. The mustached leader appears out of nowhere, casually observing that they'd found a prime spot. Helmet, arms still bandaged, holds his ground as the mustached leader, a smirk playing on his lips, steps into view. Pin, clearly fed up, retorts, sarcastically suggesting it's a perfect day for fishing, or maybe even a chat. Helmet's face tightens, a bead of sweat or a tear cutting a stark line down his cheek, his determination burning brighter than ever, even with this unwelcome intrusion. Face planted in the mud, Pin gets roasted by some tiny creature, who's like, ever had a mud bath, bro? He pushes himself up, and you can practically feel the annoyance radiating off him. The creature's words are just bouncing around in his head, and he's thinking, seriously, this guy's a total idiot. Pin's on his feet, ready to throw down and prove his point, when the creature drops a bombshell. Oh, by the way, I already called for backup. Pin's jaw drops as he looks up, and there's Helmet, just casually towering over him. Helmet's giving the creature the side eye, asking why it dragged him into this, while the mustached leader, with Finn and Sean as his backup, casually asks if Pin's Helmet's buddy. Helmet's giving a super vague answer, and Pin, still caked in mud, is desperately trying to explain he was just bathing in the forest. Helmet can't help but smirk, totally calling Pin out for playing in the mud, and Pin just yells his name in pure frustration. Helmet and the mustached leader are now locked in a stare down, with Finn and Sean backing up their boss, and you just know this friendship is about to get seriously tested. Well. Then, the mustached leader, his face a mask of stern calculation, weighs his options. Shall we check? He challenges, a subtle command in his voice as his mercenaries encircle Helmet. Helmet, though still undergoing healing, senses his full power remains locked away. I've continued the healing, but I still can't use it. A momentary tremor of unease, then his eyes ignite with a fierce violet glow, resolve hardening his features. I'm a bit nervous, but the point isn't in how many there are. Let them come. They should be able to provide a decent warm-up. He scoffs at the sheer numbers, his glowing eyes fixed on the approaching threats, ready for a mere warm-up. Thwack. A mercenary blindsides him from behind, the blow landing with brutal force. "To think they'd attack me from behind, get him and strip him," the mustached leader roars, seizing the perceived advantage, but Helmet's counterattack is already in motion, a crack echoing as he strikes back. The scarred mercenary recoils violently, blood erupting from his face. Both he and his stunned comrade can only gape in utter shock at the lightning-fast reversal. He stands there, surrounded by the mercenary squad, and the tension is absolutely palpable. His fist clenches, and he's thinking, what in the world is going on? You can practically see the frustration building on his face, a silent scream of pure annoyance. The whole dark mercenary squad is rolling up on him through the blazing autumn woods, and he's wondering what their deal is. The mustached leader steps up, demanding if he's messing with the face mercenary squad, but Helmet just coolly states they were just having a conversation. Tanya cuts in, saying she heard they were supposed to stop him, and the scarred mercenary backs her up, then Yuter drops a totally uncalled-for, sexist comment. His eyes ignite with a fierce, violet glow, and he snaps back, telling them to use their brains for once. The mustached leader, calling him out by name, then barks an order to bring Finn over. Helmet stares down the entire mercenary crew, his voice dripping with pure contempt as he calls them rank 4s, a total power move. The mustached leader's voice slices through the tension, challenging Pin's judgment, demanding to know if he was dead wrong about this guy being a rank 4. Pin, his face a mask of defiance, doubles down, claiming he is a rank 4, daring the leader to prove him wrong. The mustached leader's frustration boils over, grumbling about having to deal with this kind of mess all over again. Pin's eyes blaze with fury, vowing that this time, things are not ending peacefully. Helmet, utterly unimpressed by their bickering, shuts them down with a sharp, tuck off, then demands they just let's go, already. But as he speaks, a chilling, violet glow ignites in his eyes, a silent, terrifying flex of power beneath his nonchalant attitude. Among the stunned mercenaries, Finn completely freaks out, sweat pouring down his face as he's overwhelmed by the sheer, crushing mana he's sensing. Pin also feels the crushing weight of Helmet's power, suddenly understanding the terrifying, unspoken rules that divide the ranks. Helmet then locks eyes with the entire dark mercenary squad, coldly stating they should be thankful he's not wiping them out for their sheer audacity. He's there, in the desolate, star-dusted forest, eyes locked, ready for anything. This is the calm before the absolute chaos. And just like that, with an explosive, earth-shattering impact, Helmet and Pin go full throttle, their blades colliding in a blinding flash of blue energy that tears through the snowy forest. He unleashes a massive, devastating swing, the sheer power of it shaking the very ground. But Pin, absolutely refusing to back down, locks eyes with him, throwing down the gauntlet. Is this enough for you? With splintered trees and a cratered landscape all around, Helmet just stands there, completely unfazed, a living monument to his insane power. But Pin? Still not backing down, his voice booming, it's not enough. I'm about to show you what real power looks like. His hand clenches around his glowing sword hilt, and he drops the bombshell. The problem is. Helmet's violet eyes flare with an ominous, chilling light, a silent, terrifying answer to the defiance. Sword blazing with raw power, held ready, he's about to unleash his absolute, terrifying strength. Helmet's inner monologue reveals a critical weakness, he's not healed enough to unleash his full Vis power. Alone in the shadowy woods, he senses his true power, Vis, still locked away. But then, Pin, transformed with grey hair and blazing eyes, unleashes a verbal assault, boasting of his power and vowing to reveal his real strength. Helmet, his own violet eyes flaring, coolly accepts the challenge. His hand pulses with raw, glowing power, a visual echo of the immense strength he's fighting to contain, desperate to break free and fully awaken his Vis potential. Suddenly, a chilling, urgent broadcast rips through the air, a global alert confirming the terrifying emergence of demonic beasts across all dimensions, demanding immediate action and minimal losses. Helmet, flanked by 2 grim mercenaries, snaps his gaze upwards, as urgent commands to summon a raid team flood in. Then, a shocking transformation. Helmet, now a stunning woman with flowing black hair, stands with a new blonde ally, their attention fixed on something unseen. Her jaw tightens, violet eyes burning with fierce determination, as she accepts the harsh truth, solo training is over, and only her power can hold back the encroaching darkness. Her blonde companion turns, a serious question on his lips, asking if she's ever faced a demonic beast. Flashback. Before his big change, Helmet's chilling by a river, remembering Darian's sage advice. Darian always preached rest as part of the grind, and Helmet gets it, but he's still itching for action, bored without a blade, as Finn watches him. Wondering if he even remembers Darian's lessons. Helmet just sighs, brushing it off as rambling, his eyes lost in thought. Switching scenes. Elsewhere in the forest, a massive kung kwang sound rips through the autumn air as a mercenary crew finds their wagon totally busted. The mustached leader glares at the wreckage, pure frustration on his face, yelling about the water not coming out. The scarred mercenary, Burn, and Yuter are just as bummed, listening as their leader gripes about their ruined plans and how they'll ever make cash now. The scarred mercenary just grumbles, wishing he had more money. His leader totally agrees, pointing out that cash would fix everything, get them a new wagon, and keep them on track. He's pointing a finger, demanding answers about the legendary dark beer from his town, and the tension is palpable. But before anyone can react, the scarred mercenary unleashes a devastating, lightning-fast punch, catching the mustached leader completely off guard. The impact sends him flying, crashing hard to the ground with a sickening thud. Just as chaos breaks out, a monstrous roar rips through the silence. A colossal, glowing-eyed wolf beast, crackling with white energy, explodes onto the scene. It towers menacingly over the now downed leader, its glowing eyes locked onto the helpless mercenary. The mercenaries charge into a brutal mountain pass, clashing head-on with a colossal, white-furred monster. The earth shatters underfoot as the battle rages, steel meeting flesh in a chaotic explosion of power. But the white beast isn't alone. A massive, gray feline monster, eyes burning emerald, lets out a guttural snarl, its fangs already slick with blood. Burn is caught off guard, a shocked gasp tearing from his throat as he witnesses the brutal turn of events. But he won't back down. With a fierce roar, Burn charges, his blade a blur as it slices through the air. His voice cracks with urgency, a desperate plea to hold back echoing through the fray. A blood-soaked hand shoots out, a frantic warning about reckless charges barely audible over the din. Too late. The gray monster howls in agony as a devastating blow connects, sending a geyser of blood erupting from its maw. A terrifying white wolf monster lets out a guttural snarl, its eyes burning with an eerie green glow. And just as menacing, a colossal gray feline beast is already bleeding out, deep gashes tearing across its powerful arm. One mercenary can only gape, utterly bewildered, demanding to know where this nightmare creature even came from. But he doesn't back down, launching a devastating kick that smashes right into the gray monster. Yet, the beast is too strong, sending Finn flying back, crashing hard onto the ground. His hand ignites with a brilliant blue energy as he shouts a dire warning, "This isn't the only threat, and everyone needs to get ready." Then, with an explosive roar, Finn charges again, leading his squad of mercenaries straight into the fray. Meanwhile, Helmet observes the brutal battle, a chilling thought echoing in his mind. Finn shouts, his voice laced with panic, ordering Helmet and himself to fall back to the carriage, to stay out of this escalating chaos. But a chilling realization hits Finn, making him gasp in terror, desperately needing something, and fast. Helmet's hand tightens into a fist, a raw, silent frustration burning within him. He can't unleash his true strength, not yet. From the shadows, he barks an order, a desperate call for everyone to fall back. Finn, utterly baffled by his hesitation, screams, "What are you doing? Get in there already." Helmet drops to a knee, a grim acceptance on his face, knowing this fight will be brutal. Tanya, Burn, and Uter hold their ground, their resolve ironclad. "We can't afford to be scared. We have to go." Pin, Sean, the scarred mercenary, and the mustached leader brace themselves, a collective roar of determination. "We have to go." Helmet's eyes narrow, a grim resolve settling in, as he faces the brutal truth. There's nothing he can do to change the current, desperate situation. Forget retreat. The mercenaries are locked in, eyes burning with fierce determination, ready to throw down against whatever comes next. Then, a terrifying roar rips through the silence, and a colossal green beast explodes onto the scene, charging with an insane, raw power. Pure destructive green energy just blasts out from it, cranking up its charge to an insane level. But the mercenaries aren't backing down. Helmet, Pin, and Tanya are on the move, weapons out, closing the gap like lightning. Pin, right at the front, powers up his weapon, and it's blazing with a wild blue energy. He slams into the monster, delivering a crushing hit right through its green energy shield. But the beast is fast, striking back in a flash, unleashing a devastating, energy-charged punch. But before it can finish the job, the monster gets rocked, reeling back from a lightning-fast, unseen hit. Helmet's crew doesn't waste a second. Pin rockets into the air, going straight for the colossal green monster. Meanwhile, the mustached leader takes in the sheer, terrifying scale of the green monster. It's absolutely colossal. He's blown away by its size, even bigger than their captain, but quickly shouts for everyone to stay focused, because the small fry are already swarming. With a touch of swagger, he reminds them he's no slouch either, he's rank 3. Pin lands a brutal kick right to the monster's head, the impact absolutely exploding across the battlefield. As the battle rages, Tanya hypes up her squad, ready to tear through the incoming enemies, even as she lets out a fierce grunt. Pin, Tanya, and Helmet are absolutely tearing through the smaller green monsters, their attacks exploding with glowing energy. Then, out of nowhere, a colossal impact rocks the very ground, sending debris flying. The enormous green monster reels back violently from the unseen force, green energy erupting around it in a furious burst. The colossal green monster, eyes blazing with pure malice, dominates the scene, a terrifying fiery aura erupting around it. But even as the beast roars back to life, Helmet and Pin are already a blur, moving with deadly precision to engage. Helmet unleashes a lightning-fast, devastating strike, a torrent of blue energy exploding in his wake. The hit lands square on a lesser green monster, sending it flying back with a brutal impact. And Pin? He's right there, delivering a crushing blow to another creature, a triumphant shout echoing as it collapses. Helmet takes a beat, his gaze sharp, already strategizing their next devastating move in the swirling battle. The entire forest is a war zone, and Pin is letting out a frustrated roar as he and Helmet relentlessly tear through the endless horde of green monsters. High above the chaos, the mustached leader watches, a grim satisfaction on his face, knowing his rank 2 mercenaries are locking down the boss monster. And Tanya, a whirlwind of fierce determination, plunges into the fight, unleashing a brutal strike on another monster. Helmut takes it all in, a grim understanding washing over him as he witnesses the raw, brutal reality of human fighting. He remembers Darien's warning, that humans are way more dangerous than they seem, just as a monstrous roar rips through the air. Suddenly, a massive green monster lets out a terrifying roar, its body practically bursting with energy. In the thick of it all, Helmut and Pin are holding their ground, eyes fixed on the monstrous green horde. Another monster screams, its rage boiling as Pin gets ready to unleash hell. Meanwhile, the mustached leader watches the whole thing unfold, calculating how crucial it is to keep that main boss monster busy. Then, out of nowhere, Pin explodes into action, a total whirlwind as he zeroes in on a green monster. He cuts off its attack, his hand locking onto the monster's arm with insane power. Then, with a lightning-fast spin, Pin lands a brutal kick, sending the beast flying in a shower of green energy. Helmut stands victorious over the fallen green monster, but a crucial question hangs in the air: did any of them get away? But he quickly dismisses the thought. Their priority is to avoid escalating the situation, so a much-needed break at the closest safe zone is called for, a command Finn instantly acknowledges. The entire mercenary company is on the move, a stunning autumn backdrop accompanying their journey. Suddenly, Sean notices something tiny and calls out to Finn, inviting the little chick to emerge. A visibly drained Finn can only manage a pained groan. Stretching his leg, he whines to the mustached leader, claiming he's got leg cramps and needs to be benched. Elsewhere, Sean surveys a mountain of vanquished monsters, commending the team's effort before ordering a final damage assessment and confirmation of death, then it's off to the central base camp. Sean then casually tells Finn these monsters are so pathetic, they're barely worth the bounty, earning another frustrated grunt from Finn. Meanwhile, Pin's gloved hand is revealed, caked in grotesque black monster goo, pulsing with a mysterious purple energy. Helmut gazes into the abyss, a chilling realization dawning on him: this is a seed of pure darkness. A frantic voice screams, "Bleg, keep that thing away, narcos." Helmut, meanwhile, can't believe he's seeing a seed of darkness here, and a chilling thought crosses his mind: they should find a demonic beast and kill it now, because it'll be useful later. Meanwhile, Burn, Finn, and Pin huddle around a campfire, Burn grumbling about not wanting to meet new people, while an unseen woman retorts that people like him usually aren't allowed anyway, quickly adding it's because she's a woman, not some demonic beast. Helmut, deep in his own dark thoughts, muses that anyone could transform into a demonic beast at any moment, questioning if this is the brutal reality of the world beyond. Then, without warning, his body is violently impaled by glowing red spikes, a torrent of raw purple energy exploding from his core. His eyes ignite with an intense purple glow, a formidable aura engulfing him, as he remembers Darien's wisdom about rest being crucial for training, yet he's utterly bored without a blade in his hand. He finally understands, his fatigue isn't just tiredness, it's his body struggling to adapt to its new form. He vows that even if his past life comes back, he'll have to hide his true identity, blending into the masses, because if anyone even suspects he's a demonic beast, things could get deadly. Back with the crew, Burn, Finn, Pin, and their mustached leader trek onward through the vibrant autumn woods, their boots crunching through a carpet of fallen leaves. The mustached leader, deep in thought, remembers his mentor Darien's wisdom: even chilling out is part of the grind. But now, trekking through the fall foliage with Helmut, Finn can't help but ask if they're about to meet some fresh faces. Out of nowhere, a gnarly demonic beast lunges into view, its hideous snarl making Finn cringe and declare it's super gross up close. But Helmut's spidey senses are tingling, picking up on a weird vibe from the monster that's seriously off. Helmut snags Finn's arm, stopping him cold, and Finn, totally confused, asks what the heck is going on. Flashing a cocky grin, his eyes burning yellow, Finn playfully jabs at Helmut, asking if he's spooked, like it's his first time seeing a monster up close. Brushing off Helmut's worry, his hand now blazing with yellow power, he casually explains that all demonic beasts are just ingredients when you're the one doing the cooking. But that cocky smirk instantly vanishes, replaced by pure, wide-eyed shock as he gazes at the monster below. Purple power explodes around him, his eyes burning with the same intense glow, and Helmut's voice booms, confirming that all demonic beasts are, in fact, exactly the same. Helmut, ever the warrior, finds himself by a serene river, but even this peace can't quell his restless spirit. He remembers Darien's words about rest being part of training, but let's be real, without a blade in hand, it's just boring. A blood-curdling scream erupts, as Finn's eyes snap wide open, pure terror etched across his face. A shadowy figure strikes with lightning speed, his hand gripping tightly. A heavy boot slams down, and Finn's terrified gaze shoots up, his face a mask of pure dread. A dark, intense eye gleams with deadly intent, and with a brutal, bone-jarring impact, he's sent flying. A guttural cry of pain rips from him as his body slams into the unforgiving ground, the impact reverberating. Leaves explode around him as he tumbles, the world a dizzying blur. He crashes down, gasping for air, his entire body shaking uncontrollably. Still reeling, he manages to stammer out, "That scared me." "Why yes, Helmut." After the jarring surprise, Helmut's mind races, a chilling sense of déjà vu washing over him. His gaze sharpens, remembering the last time this exact sensation struck him, right before he almost died. Elsewhere, the mercenary squad, Pin, Finn, Byrne, Uter, Sean, the scarred mercenary, and their mustached leader, are assessing a brutal battlefield, one of them demanding if any foes survived, only to get a chilling "yes" in response. Helmut's face turns to stone, realizing he should have acted on his first impulse to wipe out the mercenaries the moment he saw them. Then, with a chilling calm, he names them all: Fien, Tanya, Byrne, Uter, Sean, Finn, promising them a little more time, but a swift end if they disappoint him. The mustached leader gazes at the carnage, a chilling doubt creeping into his thoughts. Did I see it wrong? Pin's gaze intensifies, his expression a mask of fierce resolve. Suddenly, a hand ignites with brilliant purple energy, pulsing with untamed power. Pin's piercing stare holds steady, his concentration absolute. The scene shifts to Helmut and Tanya, standing amidst a desolate field littered with countless fallen creatures, their expressions grim as they survey the brutal aftermath. Helmut is absolutely radiating with a soft, purple glow, sitting cross-legged in the forest as the energy swirls around him with an intense hum. His eyes, now blazing with that same ethereal light, scream his inner conviction. As the purple energy absolutely explodes and coalesces in his hands, he declares with absolute certainty that the Lua has returned. Meanwhile, Tanya is deep in thought, recalling a past moment where the blade she instinctively reached for had actually cut Pin, and she realizes she should be thankful to him. Helmut's mind races, wondering why he didn't die when facing that big, scary monster, and what would have happened if he hadn't been able to stop it with his own hands. The mustached leader, standing firm in the forest, lays down the law: they'll stand guard in rotation with their assigned shifts. He assigns Finn and Nerios to one shift, while Sean and Byrne are on the next, and Uter is out of commission due to his injuries. The mustached leader's eyes narrow, a fierce resolve burning within him. This is it, his ultimate opportunity to seize control. But elsewhere, in the heart of a dark, ancient forest, a mysterious young woman hones her deadly skills, her sword a blur of motion. Her mastery growing exponentially. She feels the power surging, confident that her blade is now sharp enough to take down her foe by tomorrow. But her intense focus is shattered by an unexpected presence. Could it be a monstrous demonic beast lurking nearby? Yet, her shock quickly morphs into disbelief as she discovers the source of the disturbance isn't a monster at all, but a human. Still, she holds her ground, sword ready, as the mysterious figure closes in. Suddenly, the intimidating scarred mercenary bursts onto the scene, his scarred eye fixed on her, barking out, "What's a little brat like you doing out here alone?" He tries to recruit her, eyeing her blade. "What's with that sword? Wanna join me?" But she shuts him down instantly, her voice dripping with disdain. "Not interested. Screw off." Enraged by her insolence, his face twists into a furious snarl as he screams, "You think that bitch is gonna help you out any time?" Still defiant, Tanya calls him out on the low-rank people he brought. And the scarred mercenary's hand clenches, his voice getting louder. He's like, "Dude, people are judging you. You're seriously tossing away a huge opportunity right now." Tanya just laughs it off, reminding him she's a berserker, basically saying his opinion doesn't matter, and if he's judging her, he's just not good enough. Then she hits him with the real question, asking if all he wants is to fight demonic beasts. He just stares, totally caught off guard by her directness. Tanya makes it clear why she's in the forest: she's there to hunt, not to work for him. Then she drops a savage line about living like a human, before throwing shade by bringing up Darian's mercenary squad. The scarred mercenary just lets out a short, mocking laugh. But that laugh quickly turns into a sneer, his face twisting in anger, as he spits her words back, totally triggered by her comparison. The scarred mercenary, eyes blazing, absolutely demolishes the ground, roaring his challenge to prove he's the boss. He explodes into action, a total blur, swearing to make Tanya pay for her disrespect, shouting that his crew is on a whole other level than Darian's. But before he can even connect, Tanya's hand snaps out, catching his arm with insane speed and power. With a brutal push, she sends him flying back, his cocky grin wiped clean off his face. He trips, totally stunned, furious, demanding to know what kind of cheap trick she just pulled. Tanya just stares him down, stone-faced, calling him out for being just like everyone else, his ego as huge as a mountain. As red energy flares around her, she lays down the law: if he wants to play the hierarchy game, he better come prepared, telling him to know his damn place. Her grip clamps down, making him scream in agony, as he fights against her crushing strength. Even though he's totally owned, he clenches his jaw, stubbornly refusing to give up. The scarred mercenary barely has time to react as Helmut, a whirlwind of motion, closes the distance in an instant. Before he can even blink, a devastating strike lands, sending him flying back with a scream of agony. Helmut shows no mercy, following up with another lightning-fast strike. His eyes blaze with violet power as he charges up a devastating attack, scoffing at his opponent's arrogance. A concentrated blade of pure purple energy ignites in his grasp, then slashes out with blinding, unstoppable force. Helmet remains perfectly still, his attack executed with flawless precision. The magical strike connects with devastating impact, shredding the scarred mercenary's defenses and sending blood flying. He lets out a guttural scream, his body violently thrown back by the overwhelming force. The scarred mercenary crashes to the ground, gasping for breath, utterly defeated and bleeding profusely. Helmet, radiating a subtle purple aura, stares down at the fallen foe. He hadn't planned this, but the mercenary had pushed him too far. He takes a step. His resolve hardens, the words a grim echo of the inevitable. The mercenary lets out a pained groan, and Helmet's mind races. Leaving him here? That's just asking for trouble. His face set, the weight of the choice heavy on his shoulders. Yet, the mercenary still writhes, a guttural sound escaping him, while Helmet remains, the purple power crackling around his fist. But deep within the mercenary's shattered mind, a terrifying thought ignites, a raw, murderous instinct screaming for release. His hand twitches, a silent tremor of pure, unadulterated rage, as the moment of truth draws near. His eyes blaze with a terrifying, desperate resolve, the primal scream echoing in his head, I can kill him. Suddenly, a raw, violent urge ripped through the mercenary, his eyes blazing with malevolent purple energy as a dark power exploded from his form, a primal scream echoing in his mind, kill him. The purple energy surged, exploding outwards with blinding force. His entire form was consumed by the sinister glow, his hands practically bursting with raw power. His face twisted in a desperate, agonizing struggle, as the purple light in his eyes reached an unbearable intensity. This was it, the very seed of darkness itself. He gripped his chest, a guttural groan tearing from his throat, desperately battling the monstrous transformation. For just a moment, he'd felt himself becoming a monstrous, unstoppable beast. He needed to regain control, to get a hold of himself, now. A choked cry escapes him, the sheer force of it almost tearing him apart, as he snarls, damn, fighting for control against the surging darkness. He stands in a blood-soaked clearing, the air thick with the scent of battle, stating, he ran away, his voice chillingly calm. Meanwhile, the defeated captain pushes himself up, his mind shattered by the impossible loss. With every ounce of his remaining will, he scrambles to his feet, bolting through the trees. But the horrifying green monster, a beast of pure malice. Hidden in the shadows. His eyes narrow, recognizing the fleeing man. Helmet whips around, his eyes locking onto a horrifying, crimson trail splattered across the forest, a clear sign of brutal combat. And then, a terrifying, guttural roar rips through the air, as the green monster unleashes its fury, its glowing green eyes blazing with pure, unadulterated rage. Suddenly, a massive, glowing green foot slams down, radiating pure menace. Helmet faces down the colossal green beast, its monstrous shape barely visible through the intense emerald glow. With eyes locked on his foe, he throws out a defiant challenge. A gruesome, severed limb lies nearby, proof that Helmet's already been busy. The monster lets out a furious growl, its eyes burning with pure rage. Helmet holds his ground, sword ready, staring down the monster's bleeding, wounded leg. This isn't like before, he thinks, his determination burning as he vows to take it down. Then, with an explosive burst of energy, Helmet's entire body flares with a brilliant purple aura, powering up for the ultimate showdown. Helmet, radiating an intense purple aura, stares down the colossal beast, a defiant smirk playing on his lips as he dares it to come closer. He explodes into action, a blur of purple energy slamming into the monster with a thunderous quang. The creature recoils, letting out a primal, earth-shattering roar. Amidst the chaos, the hunter's thoughts race, questioning if his power is truly limitless, or if this epic clash is finally pushing him to his absolute peak. The monstrous foe lets out a deep, rumbling groan. Before a devastating, shadow-infused strike from him sends it flying, crashing through the trees. But it's not over yet. The beast snarls, a furious grrr escaping its maw. And retaliates with a lightning-fast claw swipe, connecting with a brutal quang. Yet, the fight ends, his powers settling as he coolly promises to return for another round. Lost in a shadowy forest, his instincts scream, every nerve on edge, as he strategizes his next move. While he's deep in thought, a shadowy figure suddenly appears in the distance. Suddenly, amidst a mercenary camp, the mustached leader confronts him about a fallen ally, confirming Caleb's demise. The rest of the crew huddles around the roaring fire, a young boy silently observing the scene. A dark-haired woman then sighs, lamenting the dullness of life without a blade. Which spurs the mustached leader to extend an unexpected offer to Helmet, a spot in the mercenary guild. A shocking proposition that leaves him stunned, as the leader reveals the brutal truth of Caleb's brush with death. The mustached leader is absolutely furious, his gaze burning through his subordinates. He's demanding answers, screaming about how they knew what was coming and still did nothing. But Pin isn't having it, his face twisting into a snarl as he fires back, "Hey. Watch your words." Tanya cuts through the tension, her voice laced with pain as she drops a bombshell, "That someone is my younger brother." But the mustached leader isn't backing down, doubling down on his blame, asserting that if they'd just done their job, none of this would have ever happened. Pin's rage boils over, his face a mask of fury. And he unleashes his fury, demanding, "Are you trying to blame my brother?" Tanya cuts through the escalating argument, shouting, "Enough." The mustached leader throws his hands up, utterly exasperated, yelling, "All of you need to get a grip." He presses on, his voice cutting through the tension, "This isn't the time. Caleb was going to be coming up anyway." The mustached leader keeps the pressure on, but Pin, his orange hair practically sparking with defiance, fires back, "Look, the others messed up, not me. It's just another day in the chaotic life of this mercenary squad." But the leader isn't having any of it, cutting straight to the chase, "Forget the past. Pin, you handle the rest with the kid." Helmet, ever the professional, just gives a quick, "Okay." Pin, clearly still fuming, mutters to himself, "Miles, just do it for him, seriously." He's definitely not thrilled about the situation. The leader, sensing the lingering friction, delivers a stern warning, "Too many have fallen due to carelessness, you need to step up your game." The mercenaries break formation, and a collective voice echoes, "All right." Out of nowhere, Pin's fist lands a solid thwack on Helmet's head, making him flinch hard. Helmet lets out a pained, "Ugh," clutching his head, a silent, exasperated thought passing through him. Pin, absolutely furious, lays into him, "You idiot, you got yourself hurt. You were practically dead." Later, deep in the solitude of the forest, Helmet ponders his mentor Darian's wisdom. "Darian always said rest is part of the grind, but honestly, without a sword in my hand, it's just, dull." He flashes back to Darian's wisdom, resting isn't just downtime, it's part of the grind. But right now, without a blade to swing, he's just bored out of his mind. Yesterday's encounter flashes before his eyes, the sting of his own naive words, "I guess I didn't know what was happening," still fresh from the aftermath of the battle. Suddenly, a sharp voice snaps him out of it, barking, "You are not traveling alone anymore, got it?" His eyes widen in silent confusion. As a weird vibe hits him. This feeling. The fiery-haired woman clamps a hand on his shoulder, yanking him to a halt. Her face dead serious as she asks, a mental image of Darian flashing in his head. "But what happens after he's gone, huh?" He turns and walks away, leaving the intense exchange in his dust. That strange sensation still clinging to him, a powerful echo of his mentor. It feels like Darian. Helmet's gaze sharpens, a strange, human energy coursing through him as he processes the new sensation. But elsewhere, under a brooding sky, a new threat looms in the wilderness. A grizzled leader, astride his steed, debates the source of cryptic messages, firmly believing their target wouldn't communicate in such a way. His blonde-haired subordinate, ever loyal, simply replies, accepting the leader's judgment without question. Without warning, the mustached leader explodes into action, his devastating blow rocking a monstrous green foe. The rest of the squad, Pin among them, dive headfirst into the chaos, clashing with a relentless swarm of green and white beasts. The mustached leader, a bulwark against the tide, braces for another assault, his resolve burning bright in the face of overwhelming odds. The battlefield erupts, mercenaries clashing fiercely against an endless torrent of beasts, their desperate struggle barely stemming the monstrous onslaught. With the immediate threat quelled, the mustached leader surveys the carnage, knowing their only option now is to hold out for backup after the brutal fight. Pin is absolutely seething, trying to wrap his head around how these low-rank monsters could be so powerful. Tanya, ever the strategist, cuts to the chase, her mind already on the next critical move. The mustached leader, lost in thought, gazes upwards, a crucial question forming in his mind. But the threat isn't over. A green monster is still out there, its eerie glow a warning that it's just waiting for the perfect moment. Pin, patching himself up, lets out a weary sigh, muttering sarcastically about what a great day it's been. The mustached leader shuts Sean down immediately, not tolerating any negativity. But Sean isn't backing down. He vows to return, challenging fate itself by asking if he's really going to die to these creatures. Pin, still fuming, grumbles about Keen, already planning his revenge. The frustration is palpable, as he just wants to go all out and attack without holding back. Helmet and Pin, still in the thick of it with the mercenaries, take a breath. Despite earlier thoughts of leaving, they're still here, and Pin can only exclaim, "At least we're not dead." Pin thanks Helmet for making it out alive, and Helmet, returning the sentiment, admits he might have been a little too reckless. But the mustached leader, watching them, scoffs, demanding to know why Helmet's still here, thinking he'd just ditched them all. Helmet just shrugs, saying he has no idea why they're still around, but hey, at least their broken bones aren't hurting today. The mustached leader's face darkens. He can't risk it, no way, muttering about some promise and deciding he's better off going solo. A steely glint in his eye, a silent, yeah, to his own grim determination. Helmut, turning his back on the group, walks away, vowing they need to find a solution for everyone, for all of them. Later, under the moon, he's alone by a fire, deep in thought, even though he has no clue what his next move should be. The mustached leader, his face a mask of grim resolve, lays down his cold, hard truth: some things, they're just better done alone. He'll let others dawdle, sure, go at their own speed, whatever, but for him, no compromises. A sharp, almost contemptuous sound escapes him, his conviction absolute. His eyes narrow, a steel trap snapping shut, as he flat out states, he's not buying it. He's said it before, and he'll say it again, he'd rather take on a whole army solo than deal with a single weak link, 20 enemies over one ally any day. For him, this isn't just about strength, it's about the only real safety there is. Because at the end of the day, for him, it all boils down to one brutal, undeniable truth: efficiency. A hard-nosed leader lays down the law to his squad, barking that safety is out the window. And efficiency is the only thing that matters now. His words hit hard, especially since the squad had already written off the massive forest, deeming its meager resources not worth the danger. Someone dares to mumble about efficiency, but the leader just shuts them down. He throws down the gauntlet, demanding to know if the farmer's squad has zero morals, just before one of his crew calls him out as Sir Miles. Miles just scoffs at morals, calling them nothing but pretty words. And then he hits them with the real question: isn't survival the ultimate goal? He doubles down, hammering home the word survival. Miles lays out his brutal logic: this whole plan is just a way to weed out the weak, guaranteeing that even if the monsters are tougher than expected, they can still bail out without losing a single person. Helmut, watching the leader's chilling calculations, can only conclude that this kind of thinking means they're all headed for a bloodbath. Miles, the ruthless leader, stares down, the weight of his next move crushing him. The air hangs heavy in a desolate, misty forest, a chilling silence broken only by the wind. The mercenary crew pushes through the eerie, desolate land, and Miles can't help but feel the crushing weight of it all. Tanya, clearly on edge, spills her worries about their dwindling energy and the endless road ahead. But Miles? He's stone cold, shrugging off the tank guards as useless and dropping a chilling warning not to mess with him. He doubles down on his ruthless logic, declaring them utterly worthless. The squad keeps pushing, no brakes, their horses' thundering hooves echoing through a ghost town. Miles, ever the leader, drives them forward, alone, determined silhouette against the bleak horizon. The squad pushes through the ruins, but then, a shocking truth hits them like a truck. Pin explodes in fury, screaming about what's going on, while other mercenaries are already bailing out. His face twists into a mask of pure disbelief and rage, a guttural roar escaping his lips as the grim reality sinks in. Miles, ever the pragmatist, sees it all unfold, confirming that the moment the squad realized they were just bait, they bolted. Pin's voice, dripping with disbelief, cuts through the air, demanding to know if they were seriously just bait. Pure frustration boils over, as he curses their fate, realizing they're completely screwed. He spins around, facing the dark, foreboding forest, the crushing weight of their situation hitting him hard. Tanya, ever vigilant, takes in the unfolding chaos, her face a steely mask of concern and fierce resolve. Miles, with an iron will, steps up, facing his remaining squad, announcing that if no one else has the guts to move, he's taking charge. He lays down the harsh truth: they're on their own, and they'll have to fight to save themselves. The forest explodes into chaos as a monstrous horde ambushes the mercenary convoy, turning their path into a death trap, making one mercenary instantly regret everything. One mercenary, seeing the overwhelming odds, knows he has to act now, but questions if it's even worth it. Pin, his face a mask of grim determination, roars a command to his comrades: everyone, prepare. Sword raised, he stands his ground, facing the charging monsters head-on, yelling, they're coming. But the monster's speed is absolutely insane. And before he can even blink, a brutal strike sends him flying. A monstrous hand clamps down on him, holding him tight as he rages internally about his identity being exposed and the sheer indignity of this death. But a fierce defiance burns in his eyes. He absolutely refuses to go out like this, screaming that dying here would be a worthless life. He stares down at the absolute chaos, his own powerful words ringing in his ears: remember my words. Death. A redeeming death is an. Pin, meanwhile, is completely overwhelmed, his mind racing back to his origins, thinking, where I'm from, daredevils behind heroes are. Miles, too, is gripped by pure terror, questioning everything: if I'm human like them. But Helmut's gaze hardens. His resolve absolutely unwavering, thinking, no matter. His hand clenches, a silent, powerful promise forming as he watches these people. The mercenaries are getting absolutely shredded by the relentless horde. And Helmet absolutely refuses to see them fall, declaring, I don't want them to die. His boot plants firmly on the ground, a powerful memory of Darian's words echoing in his mind. Darian, I remember what you said. Pin unleashes a fierce sword swing, his mind screaming, this time, he's all in. But then, Helmet draws his blade, a chilling calm in his eyes as he declares internally, I'll trust humans. His eyes blaze with purpose, a silent vow for everyone, caught in this nightmare. Then, a blinding burst of electric purple energy explodes around him, radiating immense power. A hidden power he's unleashing, a truth that is all a secret. Miles and Pin are absolutely floored, their jaws dropping as they gasp, wait. What? Pin's face is drenched in sweat, his mind racing to process the insane power he just witnessed. But the chaos isn't over. A terrifying white monster lunges, letting out a blood-curdling KEHH. And they're not alone. More of these terrifying beasts swarm from every direction, a relentless tide of destruction. He's a blur of motion, a literal explosion of vibrant purple energy as he unleashes a devastating strike, sending a monster's claw flying back. The purple aura just explodes, blasting back multiple white-furred monsters in one insane, sweeping attack. He launches himself sky-high, a swirling vortex of pure power, absolutely tearing through the monster horde. The sheer power of his ability just rips through them, sending a whole group of monsters flying, their bodies twisting in the explosive purple energy. Miles is absolutely floored, staring in total disbelief, trying to process what he's seeing. A dream? No way. Helmet, he yells, completely stunned. Above the chaos, that purple energy just keeps expanding, weaving insane, glowing lines across the dark, star-filled sky. The lines connect, forming a massive, shimmering web of pure, raw power. And at the center of this cosmic power grid stands Helmet, absolutely glowing with that potent purple light, the undisputed master of this insane new domain. A white monster gets snagged in the web, its body twisting and crushing under the immense, inescapable force. Helmet's formidable purple energy continues its descent. Swirling with destructive power. His gaze is sharp, his jaw set with unwavering resolve. As he steps forward, advancing deeper into the horde. The white-furred creatures shriek in terror as the violet force erupts around him, tearing through their ranks. One monster, caught directly in the blast, lets out a desperate cry. As the crushing energy engulfs its very head. Helmet's relentless assault continues, purple energy absolutely exploding around him as he decimates the white-furred monsters. With a brutal, decisive stomp, he crushes one creature's head underfoot. His gaze absolutely unwavering and resolute. The battle's over, but the forest still feels heavy, the sky above a silent witness to the chaos. The squad is still on high alert, weapons out, eyes scanning for anything else lurking. The mustached leader can barely believe his eyes, whispering, seriously, a miracle, this beast monster. Someone else points out the monster's retreat, total coward. Couldn't handle seeing its own go down. Pin is absolutely floored, looking at him with wide eyes, dude, how did you even? Helmet, cool as ice with his dagger in hand, just shrugs it off, no big deal. My body just healed itself. Pin's mind is reeling, I knew it. A realization hits him, I saw what I thought I saw. This is actually possible. The mustached leader can't wrap his head around it, questioning how a rank 2 could pull off such a feat, as Tanya just tells him to hurry up. He's still reeling, how could a rank 2 even do that? Helmet, ever chill, strolls through the woods, remembering Darian's words about rest being training, but honestly, it's just boring without a sword in his hand, while Tanya, ever practical, points out they're running out of options. The mustached leader grips his head, a memory hitting him hard, the sheer absurdity of it all. One foot after another, they press on. Hiking through the thick woods, the mustached leader asks the obvious, what's the plan now? He then turns to Pin, asking what happens if they just leave the forest, and Pin, looking serious, states, we need to find the left path. The mustached leader, absolutely fuming, vows to kill them if they bail, but Helmet, cool as ever, just asks, so, what's the plan until then? Helmet just keeps moving, a detached thought crossing his mind, he hasn't even gotten his cut of the spoils yet. The mustached leader was absolutely fuming, grabbing Helmet by the collar, but Helmet? He was just chilling, casually wondering about the wildness of their current predicament. The mustached leader, totally losing it, just yelled at him to shut up. Then, the crew kept pushing through the snowy, desolate forest, hot on the trail of the others. There were so many footprints, it was obvious that trying to follow each one was a total lost cause. Bare tree branches clawed at the gloomy, cloudy sky. They kept pushing through the bleak wilderness, and one of the mercs confessed he was still reeling from everything that had gone down. Someone else chimed in, saying they could finally catch a break once they hit some shade. Pin, scanning the ground like a hawk, pointed out all the tracks but said he didn't feel any threats or movement close by. He then looked up, figuring the others were okay, and wondered if they'd already made it to the edge of the forest. Pin stops dead in his tracks, a sudden jolt of awareness hitting him. He turns to Tanya, "Can you feel that?" But across the snowy expanse, Helmet's violet eyes blaze with raw power, confirming the massive energy spike. "I feel it, a surging energy." And then, the horrifying truth is revealed, a full-blown battle is tearing through the forest, monsters and mercenaries locked in a brutal, desperate struggle. The mustached leader clenches his fist, a vein throbbing in his temple. "Ha, those rascals." "Great," he seethes, clearly annoyed. But Helmet drops a bombshell, the fight is an hour out, and there's a leader in the mix. The mustached leader's eyes narrow, calculating. "You just want to go, eh?" he mutters, a hint of challenge in his voice. But Pin, ever the strategist, cuts in, "This is not our fight. What if they've already left? Why should we get involved?" The mustached leader's voice hardens, reminding Pin of their core principle: we're mercenaries, not vengeful spirits. The most important thing is to finish the quest. With the whole crew, Tanya, Byrne, Uter, and Sean, now assembled, the mustached leader lays down the law: let's take care of business first, before thinking about those bastards. Pin, with a confident smirk, declares their status as the ultimate mercenary crew, ready for anything. Then, with a fierce gaze at Tanya, the mustached leader barks the order: "All right, let's go." Marching through the wilderness, he shouts a final reminder: protect the client and the goods. But in the eerie, twisted woods, a terrifying swarm of monsters bursts forth, ready to unleash chaos. The mercenaries, Helmet, Pin, Tanya, Byrne, Uter, Sean, are already in the thick of it, swords and axes tearing through the monstrous white horde around a wrecked cart. The mustached leader, observing the carnage, can only grimace, cursing the endless tide of beasts. But then, Miles, another leader, steps up, eyes blazing as he shouts, "I've been waiting for this." Then, a colossal green monster, radiating pure menace, starts to pulse with a terrifying emerald glow, charging up for a cataclysmic strike. The green energy surges, crackling around its form, building to an explosive, earth-shattering release. Miles was stunned by the relentless pursuit, unable to believe these monsters just wouldn't quit. But the colossal green monster wasn't impressed, demanding to know if its squad wasn't satisfied with just the mercenaries. Then, with a terrifying shriek, the beast erupted in a blinding flash of green energy, power levels going off the charts. Miles was back in the thick of it, deflecting a barrage of blows, his weapon a blur against the endless white monster horde. His jaw clenched, a fierce determination burning in his eyes. For a split second, he considered bailing, but that thought was instantly crushed. No way. He unleashed a devastating spin attack, his weapon a blue streak, sending monsters flying. He snapped his head to his comrade, barking, "Yo, Max, what's the deal, man?" He laid out the brutal truth, declaring that if they only took out the small fries and not the big boss, everyone was toast. He's grappling with the sheer scale of the threat, a chilling realization hitting him hard. But elsewhere, a terrifying shadow declares its grim intent: every single witness will be wiped out. A mustached leader, amidst a swarm of bat-like horrors, readily agrees, convinced their standing would be secured, hailing it as a brilliant plan. He shouts to his troops, "Disperse," as they clash with the relentless white monster horde. Miles, watching the disaster unfold, is utterly stunned, a single, desperate question forming in his mind. The green monster, with blinding speed, grabs Pin and launches him skyward, a desperate shout torn from his lips. Max, witnessing the brutal attack, screams in horror, his voice raw with fear. Miles, his face a mask of pure horror, can only gasp out a desperate prayer: "Oh my, dear God." The mustached leader, now defeated and slumped with his men, lets out a guttural cry of despair, the catastrophe having utterly broken him. The mustached leader's face twists in pure agony, a chilling realization hitting him: he'd made a catastrophic error in judgment. Trusting the face mercenary squad, a decision he now remembers as they just abandoned them. Then, the green monster lets out an earth-shattering roar, glowing with raw, crackling emerald power. It slams a mercenary with a devastating blast of green energy, sending him flying. Pin, the mercenary, is launched into the sky like a ragdoll, screaming in pure terror. The mustached leader can only watch in absolute horror as his entire force gets wiped out, crushed by overwhelming despair. Another mercenary gets absolutely blasted by the monster's green power, sent flying with a desperate scream. The green monster snarls, fangs dripping, its body still radiating pure, malevolent energy. But then, a mysterious purple orb suddenly flares with light, and a commanding voice cuts through the mayhem: "Put that down." Out of nowhere, a figure drops from the sky, absolutely crackling with purple lightning, bringing down a devastating strike. The sheer power of the attack absolutely engulfs the green monster, its massive form twisting and contorting from the brutal hit. The very ground explodes from the impact, sending a massive cloud of dust and debris everywhere. Helmet explodes into action, his sword blazing with raw green power. A quick thought of rotten luck flashing through his mind as he carves through the air. His blade collides with an invisible barrier, deflecting a surge of purple energy in a thunderous impact. He locks onto his enemy, recognizing their terrifying evolution, and vows to finish this fight in a single, decisive blow. Then, the colossal green monster erupts with a guttural cry, unleashing a devastating wave of emerald energy. Undeterred, he charges, his glowing blade tearing through the monster's assault, aiming for a critical hit. But the monster's raw power is overwhelming, the emerald blast slams into him, forcing a shocked "oh" from his lips. He's thrown back, his gear shredded, as the monstrous beast towers menacingly above him. The emerald energy explodes, consuming everything in a blinding, destructive maelstrom. The green monster's attack just keeps coming, a relentless surge of raw power. Then, a blinding flash of emerald light explodes, with a monstrous roar and a terrifying shriek as the attack goes into overdrive. The very air gets ripped to shreds, torn apart by the sheer, insane power of this beast. Helmet, right in the middle of this chaos, just watches the destructive energy swirl, a silent nod to its insane power. The monster's green aura just keeps growing, its tendrils ripping through everything around it. But even in this chaos, he's thinking about his own limits, a quiet thought forming in his head. Then, out of nowhere, the ground under the monster starts to crack and shatter, a massive force erupting from beneath it. Then, with a blinding flash of purple, Helmet strikes. His glowing blade connects with absolutely devastating force. He stares down at the impact site, a single word escaping his lips as the green energy finally starts to fade. He watches the monster's relentless assault, a plan already forming in his mind. The creature's attack is the same old trick, he realizes, briefly turning his back to it. Pure determination burns in his eyes. The monster's green energy surges, ready to strike again. His eyes ignite with a brilliant violet glow, and the monster flinches back, letting out a silent, furious roar. A torrent of purple energy explodes from him, slamming into the creature, making its vibrant green aura crackle and vanish. He channels raw power through his hand, purple lightning crackling around his fingers, just like Darien showed him. Even if this monster could absorb all the demonic energy out there, he thinks, it still wouldn't be enough. Purple energy swirls around him as he unleashes a relentless assault, knowing this creature is still nothing compared to the true threats he's overcome. With his violet eyes blazing, Helmet's purple lightning explodes forward, absolutely crushing the monster's green energy in a brutal, crackling collision. The sheer force of his descending strike sends the beast absolutely flying, its green aura exploding into countless fragments as Helmet's overwhelming power connects. A blood-curdling scream rips from its throat, as the purple energy continues its absolutely relentless descent. Helmet absolutely presses his advantage, his body a conduit for the raw, crackling power as he relentlessly drives the monster down. Another agonizing scream echoes as the final, crushing impact lands, the purple lightning absolutely consuming its target. Deep in a desolate, leafless forest, two figures push forward, the air thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the rustling of unseen movement. Suddenly, the forest explodes into a frenzy of motion as Helmet, a dark, unstoppable force, unleashes a barrage of devastating attacks on a horde of green-skinned monsters, his movements a deadly dance of precision. From a distance, a man with piercing amber eyes stares in absolute shock at the brutal display, a look of utter disbelief plastered across his face, barely able to whisper, "What is this?" Just moments later, Helmet stands triumphant, completely alone amidst the defeated creatures, their lifeless forms scattered around him like discarded toys. The stunned observer, now joined by a companion, can only ask, defending it all alone? His partner coolly responds, "Yeah, they were already dead." A beat of silence, then, is that really how it went down? As a larger group converges, the amber-eyed man ponders, I guess they just didn't want to break formation. Another voice cuts in, "Come on, let's move. We're wasting precious time." Someone in the group exclaims, "He can handle these captain monsters all by himself." The amber-eyed man, however, lets out a bored sigh, "Ugh, but now that I'm not swinging a sword, it's kinda dull." His partner snaps back, "There's no time for boredom here." The amber-eyed man flinches, a sudden realization hitting him, "Ugh. That's Miles. Is it a blessing or a curse that our client is still breathing?" He and his crew are deep in a chilling, snow-covered forest, one of them totally freaked out by the vibes, while another warns against checking for bodies. The ground is absolutely trashed with the mangled bodies of green monsters. And the sheer carnage leaves Miles totally disoriented, groaning as he questions if he somehow landed in the afterlife. But then, he catches sight of a familiar face, the gray-haired guy just chilling in the middle of all that destruction. Miles is instantly flooded with relief, confessing he never bought the rumors, but seeing it firsthand is a total game-changer. He quickly shakes one of his stunned companions, confirming that the gray-haired guy is definitely not dead. Miles knows Helmet saw the monsters, but Helmet coolly declares it's over and done, and nobody needs to hear about it. With an intense stare, Helmet tells Miles to keep their little reunion under wraps. Miles's eyes widen in a dawning horror, the full weight of his debt crashing down on him. He knows he owes his very life. Desperate to shift the power, he tries to pivot, asking, "So, about the money?" But Helmet remains a stone wall, his gaze unwavering, already steps ahead. A choked sound escapes Miles's throat as the cold, hard truth slams into him, the true cost of his survival laid bare. His jaw drops, utterly stunned by the outrageous demand, 80% of the profit? Helmet's voice cuts through the air, cool and collected, dismissing Miles's sputtering protests as he lays out his terms. Miles pushes back, his voice rising in indignation, demanding to know how this could possibly be fair when he was the one who saved him, declaring it an insult to any proper business deal. Helmet's voice drops, a chilling finality in his tone as he delivers the ultimatum: take the deal or lose everything, leaving Miles to choke back a frustrated groan. With a heavy sigh, Miles finally gives in, accepting the crushing 80%, and Helmet's single word rings with cold satisfaction: good. He's locked in, eyes blazing, ready to cut straight to the chase and get the full story. Deep in the woods, the gray-haired leader confronts Miles and their crew, demanding to know what kind of illicit goods they're carrying. The older man scoffs at the weirdos living here, but Miles fires back, pointing out they're hardly normal themselves. The gray-haired man throws down a warning, telling Miles his ego will be his undoing. Miles is furious, demanding to know why he wasn't briefed, but the older man just shrugs it off, saying it's too late now. Then, a shadowy mage, cloaked in mystery, unleashes an explosive torrent of blue and purple magic, clearly following some dark command. The gray-haired man instantly recognizes the power, naming the mage Watson, a name that sends a jolt through Miles. Miles quickly fills him in, revealing Watson as a legendary master of forbidden arts, infamous for their impossible temperament. The older man watches the ancient structure shatter, repeating, "Ordered," his voice laced with fury, declaring such sacrilege absolutely forbidden in these sacred lands. The Temple of Lumen, a 1,000-year-old sanctuary, was ground zero for Mage Watson's insane research. And the result? Total annihilation. 1,000 years of history wiped out, the sacred domains of the gods utterly desecrated. And the motive behind this cosmic disrespect? Cold, hard cash from the guild, who clearly didn't care about divine wrath. Miles's mind reeled, and Helmet's grim expression confirmed it: the entire guild was in on this. Helmet laid it out: the guild was practically falling apart, and this mage? They found that research with a very specific, very dangerous goal. Miles pressed: was this whole abandoning sacred domains for cash thing public knowledge? Helmet quickly corrected him: it was the Merchant Guild, specifically. Miles just scoffed, knowing full well it wouldn't stop with just the Merchant Guild, every other guild would jump on the bandwagon, because that's just how the game was played. Helmet dropped another bombshell: they didn't even try to fight the mage. Apparently, Antigal was the only one crazy enough to take on these kinds of commissions. Miles's eyes went wide with a sudden realization: the destructive mage was none other than the legendary Antigal. He nods, confirming the shocking truth: just a few years back, the divine barrier itself was nearly obliterated. Helmet's face darkens, confirming the chilling topic: the divine barrier. This wasn't just any shield, it was built to protect the city from all outside threats, and it could even sense mana flowing through the air. The temple became its sworn protector, but the raw mana that tore through it was just too much for them to even comprehend. Naturally, the guild tried to sweep it under the rug, but the culprit was Antigal, a mage so powerful, he could pull off something this insane. When that barrier crumbled, the temple, bound by its guild contract, probably went down with it. If divine power was unleashed, that would totally make sense of the sheer devastation. But that black mage from roots he'd heard about? Totally unimpressive, honestly. He just hopes this mage isn't the one they're about to face. He lets out a breath, finally clear of the monster territory, the danger now behind them. As darkness falls, he makes the call to set up camp right here, ready to confront the mage tomorrow. Then, a voice cuts through the quiet, snapping Helmet's attention. Miles strides through the camp, making a beeline for him, needing to talk right now. A beat of silence, then Helmet gives a firm nod, ready to hear him out. Miles holds out an item, and Helmet's eyes narrow, demanding to know what it is. He reveals the truth: his body is screaming from power overuse, and he's no healer to just wave it away. His hand flares with an ominous orange glow, as he watches his own body twist into something weird. Miles's face twists with worry, demanding to know how he's truly feeling. He's thinking about how effective it all was, a subtle frown creasing his face. His eyes narrow, a burning question in his mind: what's next after his memories return? Then, a voice calls out, "Helmet." Miles is there, in a sun-drenched forest, giving a heartfelt "thank you" for saving the Face Mercenary Guild. Helmet's expression shifts, a new determination setting in as he thinks, from now on. Miles keeps going, his voice serious, admitting that without Helmet, they'd all be gone. He repeats his thanks, knowing it's still not enough for everything Helmet did. Helmet ponders, then Miles offers, "Besides, maybe you checking your memory, after you Miles changes the subject, reminding him about the recovery medicine he brought, something he's sure he can get. Miles finishes with a big smile, sealing their bond, and, we're comrades, after all. Gazing at his hand, a profound realization dawns on him. Helmut understands the absolute necessity of having comrades he can rely on, no matter what. Facing him, Miles echoes the sentiment with unwavering conviction, solidifying their alliance as comrades in arms. A desolate, rocky peak just pierces the cloudy sky, its barren slopes offering absolutely no solace whatsoever. Further on, a path winds through a forest of gnarled, skeletal trees, the rhythmic clopping of hooves echoing as a small, covered wagon makes its way deeper into this absolutely eerie landscape. Miles, his brow furrowed in concern, listens to the continued clopping, a quiet hum escaping his lips as he considers their dire predicament. Stopping amidst the twisted trees, he declares, we're trapped here, a chilling, almost mocking giggle seeming to emanate from the very air around them. His younger companion, looking utterly bewildered, questions, then is this the right place to go all the way? But it's just a forest, not something to a place like this. How is it that you say the items like this? Miles, his expression grim, clarifies, we're going to carry the items to Antl's abode. No turning back now. The younger man's eyes widen in absolute shock, Then, are you saying this place is Antl's abode? Miles begins to respond, what are you, before he can finish. As if in response to the revelation, a glowing blue pendant is shown, its ethereal light accompanied by a thought, rather than just standing 100 feet, it'd be faster if you could just pick yourself. What could it mean? A cloaked figure stands before a massive, glowing blue crystalline structure, its surface shimmering with intricate patterns as a low hum emanates from it. The structure pulses with an ethereal blue light, drawing the cloaked figure closer as energy swirls around them. Inside the swirling blue energy, a red-haired companion stares in disbelief, his eyes wide as he exclaims about the magic, while Helmut, his expression grim, acknowledges the sheer power of the phenomenon. Helmut's gaze is sharp, his thoughts unreadable as the spatial distortion intensifies around them. They are now hurtling through a tunnel of brilliant blue light, surrounded by other figures, all caught in a rapid transit, leaping through space. The journey through the shimmering blue void continues, the figures enveloped in a dazzling, high-speed passage. The red-haired companion, still awestruck, marvels at the experience, realizing this must be the legendary ability of an awakener. As the light fades, Helmut and his companion find themselves in a desolate, snow-covered mountain range, a towering, dark structure visible in the distance, prompting the companion to note the sudden drop in temperature and point towards the distant landmark. A cloaked figure stands alone amidst the snow and ice, their presence immediately noticed by the companion. A figure hauls a heavy wooden cart into a dimly lit storage area, met by a booming voice that declares, "You're finally here." The commanding voice belongs to an older man, his presence marked by a magnificent, long-braided white beard. His back to the newcomer, an ornate blue cloak flowing dramatically as he grips a powerful staff. This imposing figure is none other than a high-ranking representative from the formidable Butin Merchant Association. A moment of anticipation hangs in the air before the merchant's voice cuts through, confirming, all right. Everything's here. A sharp tap of his fingers on the wooden surface punctuates his profound satisfaction with the acquired goods, clearly impressed by their rarity and the sheer difficulty of their procurement. Then, with a calculated turn, he faces the delivery man, a glint in his eye as he states, that man. You acquired more than I expected. The whispers are true, this individual can even snatch items from the impossible black market. Helmut, taking a moment by the river, recalls Darian's wisdom about rest being part of the grind, but honestly, he's just itching for a fight, bored without a blade. Back at the merchant's, the Butin merchant is hyped about the delivery, confirming the requested items are all processed, and even offering up more if anyone's interested. He then casually drops the bomb, adding the request fee to the total, making the final price a mind-blowing 150,000 marcos. The merchant thanks the delivery man, but two onlookers, a muscular guy and a younger dude, are absolutely floored, gasping at the insane price tag. The delivery man, cool as ice, just shrugs, saying he has zero use for the goods, while the merchant just grins, knowing he'll flip them for a profit. Meanwhile, Helmut's watching the whole thing go down, his violet eyes burning with an otherworldly glow, sensing something big. The Butin merchant, still fixated on the delivery man, recognizes his legendary rep, knowing he wields insane power, and wonders if he even feels the difference. He then realizes it's not just the delivery man's raw power, but his insane ability to nullify the merchant's own mana. The merchant stares, deep in thought, while Helmut, still watching, lets out a low, intrigued, ho. An ancient mage confronts Helmut, dropping a truth bomb. Even Darian, Helmut's own alias, preached rest as part of training. But for Helmut, no sword means pure boredom. The mage's mind races, knowing that his power lets him see the hidden truths of the world. But Helmut's eyes gleam with a different understanding, a power that even this mage might not fully comprehend, a hidden truth that goes way deeper than what's on the surface. The old mage lets out a mocking laugh, looking down at Helmut, calling him nothing more than a dark child. Then, out of nowhere, the very air crackles with intense, swirling blue magic. And Helmet goes all out, unleashing his own power. A blinding blue magic circle erupts beneath him, pulsing with insane energy. The old mage isn't backing down, his entire form now blazing with a powerful blue aura, proclaiming himself a master mage who's tapped into the world's deepest secrets. But Helmet, eyes blazing with pure resolve, holds his ground, his voice echoing through the magical storm, shutting down the mage's plans completely. With intricate magical chains and runes binding a glowing blue orb in his grasp, Helmet makes a solemn vow upon the legendary mage Antiol, his resolve unbreakable. He's talking about a mage's oath, a promise so powerful, once it's made, it's absolutely unbreakable. And then, with an intense blue aura flaring around him, the old mage just drops a single word, now. Helmet's watching this whole thing go down, and he's thinking, whoa, this is wild, but it's kinda like my own power. So he's got a question. But the old mage cuts him off, pointing a finger and asking, is your question about that seed of darkness chilling in your heart? Helmet's like, yep, that's the one. And the mage is all, do you even know what that thing's really planning? Helmet just gives a thoughtful, The old mage's jaw drops, his eyes wide with shock, as he screams, impossible. Helmet's about to drop some truth about his soul, but the old mage just shuts him down, yelling that the seed of darkness is literally fused with his life, and if he tries to yank it out, he's dead. He's not a demon, the mage explains, but mortals with this seed of darkness are super rare, and it just eats them alive until they die. Meanwhile, Helmet is literally radiating intense red power. The old mage hammers it home, stressing that this seed is basically his heart, and if he tries to get rid of it, he's toast. Helmet's eyes are now blazing with a terrifying red glow. He stares down the intricate blue magic, a surprising boredom washing over him, even with everything on the line. The old mage, crackling with blue energy, sets the record straight, he's just a mage, not a god. And get this, it's his first time seeing a human actually control the seed of darkness. Helmet, caught in the swirling magic, can only question, control. The mage drops a bombshell, he's literally embraced the seed, his body unable to fight it, and a raw, red aura explodes around him. The mage thinks it's like the seed was just waiting to awaken, but Helmet? He's just bored, wishing he had a sword to swing. The mage lays it out, the seed is his life now. Try to remove it. He's dead. Helmet's shocked, then laughs, finding it interesting how the mage can even see the seed, especially with the temple now on its trail. He's deep in thought, grappling with the mage's bizarre ability to see the forest of roots inside him, unsure if he should be relieved or terrified. The mage drops another bomb, not even the legendary prophet Lumen could detect this seed. Not even an archmage. He brought Helmet here because he already knew, hinting at his own mysterious power. Helmet's mind races, realizing he absolutely has to steer clear of any demonic energy hotspots. The old mage lays it out, keep it together, and maybe he can control it. But if that seed wakes up, it's game over, he'll be devoured, just like all the others. He spells out the grim truth, the seed will eat him alive, and then, it'll feast on countless others, making him the ultimate puppet. This horrifying outcome, the mage explains, is the standard package deal for anyone cursed with the seed of darkness. With a steely glint in his eye, the old mage flat out states, that's not happening on his watch. Helmet locks eyes with him, his resolve burning, declaring his humanity as his ultimate defense. A knowing smirk crosses the old mage's face as he admits, Helmet's got a point. He then ponders that since humanity birthed this monstrosity, it's up to humanity to wipe it out. Fixing his gaze on Helmet, the old mage admits he hasn't been this intrigued in ages, vowing to keep a very close eye on this special boy. The ancient mage's voice booms with raw power, laying down the ultimate challenge, if you can't conquer it, you're not even worth my time. Helmet hangs on every word, as the mage adds, and who knows what could happen. His hands ignite with blinding, arcane power, as he reveals the true stakes, if you can ascend to a level far beyond even my own, then even the very essence of darkness will bow before you. Suddenly, a colossal, glowing magic circle erupts around Helmet, pulsing with an intense, electric blue energy as the old mage unleashes an unimaginable torrent of power into the ritual. The raw magical energy slowly fades, leaving only a residual shimmer as both figures stand in silent contemplation of what just transpired. Alone by a serene river, Helmut, the level 23 Forsaken child, is deep in thought, remembering Darien's wisdom, even chilling out is part of the grind. But as he meticulously scribbles down a letter, he can't help but feel a little bored, admitting that not swinging a sword just feels off. With a piercing gaze, he knows what you're thinking. This letter? It's training, too. And if you're reading it, it means he's already gone, but don't you dare feel bad about it. He doubles down, urging the reader to clear their head, because seriously, every single second, even this letter, is part of the training. Then comes the mission, a direct order to head to a place called Baden. He reveals Baden is where kids their age are, a potential safe haven, but drops a chilling warning: the human world, it's way more dangerous than you think. Gazing over a massive city, he makes a solemn promise: no matter what crazy plan you cook up, he's got your back, always. But here's the catch: you can't go solo. Find a guy named Finn, flash him the dagger he gave you as proof you're his disciple. The ancient mage, deep in thought, muses on a peculiar realm, a place that stifles emotion but unleashes raw mana, confident that Darien, despite the odds, will conquer its trials. Elsewhere, a determined hand scratches out a message, ending with a powerful, emotional, take care of yourself. But the writing itself tells a story, the letters trembling, a testament to the writer's struggle. Deep violet eyes fixate on the words, a realization hitting hard: Darien barely had the strength to write a single line. Helmut, a solitary figure, sits with his back turned, his gaze fixed on the letter, a silent storm brewing within. He finally grasps the message, his face a mask as he devours every word. A soft "thank you" escapes him, a wave of overwhelming gratitude crashing down. He confesses his utter confusion, lost without a path, but the letter, it's a lifeline, a beacon of hope. Suddenly, a server breaks his reverie with a bright smile, delivering his long-awaited meal. The innkeeper drops the bomb on the price of the meal. And Helmut's reaction is priceless, repeating the shocking amount. But the innkeeper's jaw drops when Helmut pulls out a 1,000-mark coin. And that's when Finn steps in, offering to pay for both of them, leaving the innkeeper totally bewildered. Helmut, cool as ever, just confirms he's staying the night. His eyes locked on something unseen. But Finn isn't having it, getting seriously heated and challenging him directly. A fiery red aura exploding around him as he pushes the confrontation, clearly sensing Helmut's hidden strength. Their eyes lock, and the tension is absolutely electric. Stepping into the mercenary guild, he's immediately greeted by a receptionist, who can't help but wonder what a young guy like him is doing there. Without missing a beat, he states he's here for a request. The receptionist does a double take, then it clicks, realizing he's from the Pace Mercenary Corps. She's blown away by his age and his insane rank 3 status, prompting him to ask if something's wrong. She quickly clarifies, just super impressed by how few young rank 3 mercs there are. Shifting gears, she asks if he needs a request, and he's all like, yeah, hit me with a tough one, gotta grind for that XP. She points him towards a metropolis, hinting that's where the real challenges are. Sliding a document across, she asks what he thinks, as he grabs it to check it out. It's an escort mission to protect a lady, a hefty 200,000 reward, and she makes sure to mention it's no walk in the park. Helmut's ears perk up as the receptionist drops a bombshell: there's a catch, a condition, for this elite mission. He demands to know the catch, and the receptionist, with a mischievous grin and a confident thumbs up, is clearly loving every second of his anticipation. Helmut's gaze is unwavering, ready for whatever she's about to throw at him. A surge of anticipation courses through him, his cloaked form poised and ready, his focus locked on the receptionist's next words. Then, the receptionist drops the bombshell, the ultimate curveball: the escort has to be the lady's type. Helmut's stoic facade cracks, his eyes widening in pure disbelief at the bizarre demand. A vast city unfolds beneath them. Its vibrant heart pulsing with countless lives. Helmut, shrouded in his dark cloak, lets out a subtle, almost imperceptible sigh. As Darien lays down the law, stressing the absolute importance of his image when facing the elite, practically accusing him of deliberately looking like a mess. Darien presses on, declaring his current threads are unacceptable, though he grudgingly admits Helmut's face is already a solid foundation. That's precisely why he dragged him along, telling him to go get some proper gear, promising to handle the rest. Then, with a knowing smirk, Darien assures him that for someone of Helmut's discerning taste, he's got the ultimate outfit lined up. Suddenly, a slick blonde tailor appears, holding up a sharp, dark suit with a flourish, demanding to know what Helmut thinks. Helmut, transformed. He stands sharp in his new suit, the tailor's silent thought confirming, this is a game changer. The tailor can't help but gush, calling him handsome, honey, but Helmut quickly sets him straight, reminding him of his name. Laughing it off, the tailor admits Helmut's new look is just too adorable to resist. Getting serious, he then confirms to Helmut that his introduction has been sent out. Helmut, now feeling unstoppable in his new cloak, is given the ultimate seal of approval by the tailor: you should be perfect. But the moment is broken as the tailor's eyes widen, a hushed, "Oh, he's here," escaping his lips. Both men turn, their gazes fixed on the imposing, formally dressed figure making their entrance. A quick welcome from the tailor, as Helmut tries to place the newcomer, wondering aloud about their house affiliation. The new arrival, sharp in a suit and a striking turquoise cravat, cut straight to the chase, announcing they're here to verify the mercenary who took the request. A sharp, scrutinizing gaze locks onto him, a silent challenge in the air. He pivots from the counter, his footsteps a soft thud as he moves. The new arrival's voice cuts through the air, a mix of surprise at his speed and an almost backhanded compliment about his looks. The tailor, now fully satisfied, gives a curt nod of approval, then motions for them to move out. No time for pleasantries. The formal figure barks a command, already striding out of the shop, expecting immediate obedience. A cheerful wave from the assistant, a final farewell as they depart. They move in lockstep, their cloaks a silent testament to their journey. Leaving the grand facade behind, they press onward, the city streets opening before them. The new arrival sets a relentless pace, pulling Helmut deeper into the urban sprawl. He surveys the massive estate, the wind whispering secrets through the trees. Moving through the bustling city, the man leading the way reveals his identity. "My name is Dexton. I've handled requests like this before." Dexton probes, asking if he's familiar with Briskelina, and he gives a blunt, "No." Dexton stresses the importance of honesty and caution, given the high rank of their target, then presses, "Any experience in Briskelina?" He muses on the task, likening it to item transport, but Dexton cuts in, "The only difference is you're alone, and the item is a person." Dexton gives him an escape route, mentioning the Royal Knights could take over if it's too much, but adds a chilling caveat, "We'll only know the results once the check is complete." With a resolute nod, he agrees, a simple, "Okay," sealing his fate. They press on through the opulent estate, the unspoken rule hanging heavy in the air: silence is an important virtue in Briskelina. At the base of a ridiculously opulent staircase, a mysterious dark-haired woman and a sharp-dressed butler are waiting, the butler dropping a casual, "Welcome back," as if this is just another Tuesday. The woman lays out the intel, spilling that this isn't just any inn, it's where the Marquis's daughter is currently holed up. Her mind races, connecting the dots to Marquis Daringen, clearly someone with serious clout. Just then, two new players strut down the massive staircase, and the butler's ready with another smooth welcome. The dark-haired woman gives the teal-haired guy a serious once-over, sizing him up as the merc, but surprised by how young he looks. The butler quickly confirms the guy's legit, stamped by the Marquis himself, so no drama, but tells her to hit him up if anything goes sideways. With a quick nod, the gray-haired dude introduces himself as Cedric, and the teal-haired guy fires back, "I'm Helmut." Helmut immediately pivots to the butler, demanding to know where the lady is, only to find out she's just chilling in the cafeteria for breakfast. The dark-haired woman just observes the whole thing, her face giving absolutely nothing away. He's taking Darian's advice to heart, chilling out as part of his training. But honestly, without a sword in his hand, it's a total snooze fest. Elsewhere, a young noble girl, stuck in a maid outfit, is totally over these scratchy clothes, dreaming of the capital. The inn's dining hall is absolutely decked out, maids hustling to get this feast ready. Now in a fancy dress, the young lady confronts Cedric, demanding to know what's up with her outfit. Then, the butler drops a bombshell, introducing Helmut as the brand new mercenary. Her eyes flash with pure disdain. Mercenaries? She couldn't care less. A flush creeps onto her cheeks as she brushes them off, telling Cedric to handle his new hire himself, because she's got serious business with the Marquis. Cedric, ever the calm one, gently steers her away, pointing out that the mercenary hasn't eaten and is probably starving, and he needs a break too. Her eyes widen in realization. He's right. But seriously, at least grab some snacks. The mansion's grandeur was undeniable, but the only sound cutting through the silence was the rhythmic thud of their footsteps as Helmut, Cedric, and Lady Xenia made their way through the massive hall. Cedric shot a questioning look at the young noble, but she just kept her gaze locked on the ground, her thoughts a mystery. But her piercing, violet eye, glowing with an almost unnatural intensity, was taking everything in, seeing something no one else could. Then, with a sudden shift, she lifted her head, her eyes scanning the surroundings, Helmut a silent presence behind her. The rhythmic thud of their steps continued, but a chilling thought echoed in her mind: something was definitely off. Helmut, shrouded in his cloak, casually brushes off the looming threat, insisting he's just another face in the crowd. But Uter, the imposing bald man, cuts in, stressing the absolute necessity of shielding their village from any outside threat, and Cedric, the gray-haired elder, echoes his sentiment with a shared hope. Then, Helmut drops a bombshell, referencing everyone dispatched on par with our protagonist, and a sinister, red-eyed figure lets out a chilling, guttural laugh. Helmut, instantly picking up on the dark energy, demands to know what the man just uttered. But Cedric, surprisingly, cuts in, declaring his genuine approval for something, only to let out a shocked gasp immediately after. Uter, taking charge, orders Helmet back to the village, warning that this area is a death trap, and the cloaked figure calmly confirms his understanding. Cedric, now more hospitable, welcomes him, pointing out the late hour and the total absence of inns in the Black Mark, and Helmet once more acknowledges the information. The view pulls back to a humble village home, and he graciously extends the offer for a night's rest. But inside, a raw, purple energy explodes from his form, his eyes blazing with unleashed power. Born with a black mark, he senses an unsettling anomaly within himself. Yet, despite his surging power, a crucial piece of his true potential remains elusive. His true power remained untapped, demanding a suitable training ground, a place where he could finally unleash his full potential. Greta Academy promised a new level of training, a chance to push past his limits, and he yearned for that opportunity. But above all, the mark of darkness demanded a cure, a final liberation. Under the endless cosmic canvas, he stood, a lone sentinel, his blade a silent promise. Then, a sudden, unsettling flicker of perception caught his attention. Was it just a phantom echo across the barren, frozen wastes? High above, an ethereal white eagle, its eyes ablaze with an eagle's sense, revealed hidden truths, a vision beyond mortal sight. Someone's watching, and they're quickly realizing their target's senses are off the charts. Keep this up, and they're busted. Chilling on a bed, the white-haired dude can't believe it, thinking no average human should ever be able to sniff him out. A slight frown crosses his face as he mutters, seriously, what a strange bastard. A sleek, futuristic status screen pops up, showcasing Helmet, the legendary, Forsaken Child, with all his stats and crew laid out for the world to see. Meanwhile, the white-haired observer is deep in thought, his sharp violet gaze fixed on something unseen. He then calls out, a hint of impatience in his voice, demanding to know if Lord Aaliyah is still catching Z's. Knock, knock, knock. The insistent rapping pounds on the door, as he shouts again, Lord Aaliyah, are you even awake? But inside, Lady Xenia, a young girl, is absolutely freaking out, her eyes wide with panic as the voice outside keeps pushing, I know you're not asleep. His patience completely gone, the white-haired man's voice turns icy, barking orders to let him in and reminding the girl about the master's strict bedtime rules. He's in. Standing over the terrified girl, he repeats his command, stressing the danger of being overheard. As night falls over the silent house, a weary thought echoes through the darkness, this is exhausting. Darian's words echoed, rest is training. But without a blade in hand, this journey felt boring. Then, a caravan appeared on the horizon, sharing their route. Hooves pounded rhythmically. Until the travelers found a natural spring, a perfect oasis for a much-needed break. But Helmet, slumped and groaning, looked anything but refreshed. Just moments later, though, his face lit up, a wide grin spreading as he found something as sweet and refreshing as honey. With a surge of energy, he declared, let's eat here. Lady Xenia, beside him, stared wide-eyed at the steaming dish, its juices practically begging to be devoured. A maid swiftly arrived, setting down another covered platter with a soft thud. The journey paused at a serene spring, and Helmet, ever the observer, couldn't help but recall Darian's words, even chilling out was part of the grind. But let's be real, just bread and water. Kinda boring when you're not in the thick of it, right? Still, Cedric, the ultimate host, was all smiles, declaring, he was thrilled to see everyone digging into their meals with such gusto. He even called it an honor. But Lady Xenia, clearly not impressed, grumbled that this food was a hard pass, and she was seriously missing her mom's home cooking. That got Helmet's attention. His eyes narrowed, a silent question hanging in the air, what was up? Then, his eyes locked onto his own cup of water, and a jolt went through him, what in the world was that? Everyone else was still chowing down, totally unaware of his rising suspicion, as he took a tentative sip. That the water had a weird taste. His eyes snapped open, a terrifying thought hitting him like a truck, was this poison? The caravan was prepped and ready to roll. Cedric, ever the professional, declared everything set. But while the others prepped, he just wanted to crash, mumbling about being totally wiped and needing a quick power nap. Helmet, clearly drained from his intense training, just wanted to chill with his water. Cedric, after making sure the young noble was all set, took a quick breather, letting out a relieved sigh. Then, he headed to the carriage, ready to get this show on the road, telling his charge it was time to leave. But just as he turned, a shocking noise ripped through the air, making his eyes go wide. Meanwhile, completely oblivious to the chaos, Lady Xenia was out cold in the carriage, maybe dreaming about the finish line, or her true title as Lord Aaliyah. Helmet choked, clutching his throat in pure terror as the poison hit hard, and Cedric yelled out, completely stunned. He hit the dirt, convulsing like crazy, and Cedric just lost it, screaming his name and demanding answers. Green goo foamed from his mouth as his body kept seizing, a truly gruesome scene. Cedric's jaw drops, utterly stunned by the chaos unfolding. The caravan is a war zone, with bodies strewn around the carriage, taken down in a flash. More enemies are down, scattered across the forest floor like discarded rags. Another attacker is out cold, crumpled against a tree. But then, a shocker. Helmet, who was just poisoned, is standing tall, sword in hand, having single-handedly taken down the entire ambush. He scans the area with an intense, unyielding stare, the poison seemingly purged from his system. Suddenly, he's a phantom, blitzing through the forest at unbelievable speeds. His eyes blaze with a fierce violet glow, locking on to the next wave of attackers hidden in the shadows. Another one bites the dust, and Helmet delivers a chilling warning: they just woke up a sleeping monster. Still masked, he's deep in the forest, holding a tracer, remembering Darian's words about rest being part of the grind. Unmasked and chilling against a tree, he's already bored, complaining about the lack of sword action, when suddenly, a voice snaps him out of it. His blade is still sheathed, but the voice is clearly shocked, demanding to know why he's not out cold. Meanwhile, two shadowy figures, one with blue hair and the other bearded, are watching the whole thing go down, looking seriously intense. The bearded guy's jaw drops, utterly baffled by what he's seeing. The blue-haired dude is now right over Helmet, getting in his face, demanding to know if he's the infamous Black Hawk. Helmet, still chilling, just nods, not even flinching. The blue-haired guy lays it out: they were sent to track down the one who didn't come back from the last fight, and now he's the Black Hawk. Back together, the blue-haired guy and his bearded partner make it clear, their targets are traitors. The blue-haired assailant unleashes a furious roar, his voice dripping with pure rage, questioning the audacity of his target. With a chilling glare, he delivers a brutal verbal blow, asserting dominance and demanding respect. Helmet, now in a desperate sprint, tears through the forest, a strained gasp escaping him as he risks a glance back at the relentless hunters on his trail. He keeps running, but a chilling voice cuts through the air, a grim declaration that he is nothing more than their hunted prey. But his desperate escape is brutally cut short, as Helmet is suddenly encircled in a clearing, the blue-haired enforcer, the bearded leader, and a host of armed figures forming an inescapable ring. The bearded enforcer, his face a mask of grim determination, poses the chilling question: is it finally time to unleash the full force of their hunt? The very heavens seem to pause, a silent witness to the impending clash. With a sudden, defiant motion, Helmet's hand snaps to his sword hilt, the sharp shing of metal ripping through the air. The blade flashes free, fully unleashed and poised for the brutal fight to come. Helmet's eyes snap open, the sheer scale of his predicament hitting him like a truck. They're completely surrounded. Suddenly, a blinding torrent of raw magical power explodes through the air. With the white-haired mage at its epicenter, his hand blazing with an unholy light as he unleashes a devastating strike. A shimmering blue ring of pure force ripples outwards from the impact, followed by another earth-shattering concussive blast. Helmet's gaze sharpens, his face a mask of grim determination as he takes in the overwhelming power. But the white-haired mage isn't done yet. His hand ignites with a malevolent purple glow, his voice echoing with a chilling command to back down. He stands, a beacon of raw power, completely engulfed in the crackling, vibrant energy. A swirling orb of pure destructive purple magic coalescing in his palm, delivering a final, bone-chilling threat. A holographic status screen pops up, flexing Helmet's insane level and skills, proving he's a total powerhouse. He's a blur of motion, leaving sick purple energy trails as he rockets past. Elsewhere, some scarred dude is chilling, bragging about how they put people to sleep with a fat stack of cash. But back in the forest, Helmet's suddenly swarmed by armored goons, and someone's yelling about having their own reasons for being there. Helmet and a mysterious cloaked figure are just standing there, watching the whole mess go down without a word. His eyes are practically burning with purple power as he snarls, dropping a furious, bastard crow. Some mercenary, scarf face and all, is yelling, demanding to know what went down with armor. Before he can even blink, Helmet's fist rocks his face, and the mercenaries like, KUGH, realizing they totally missed the mage factor. He's sent absolutely flying, smashing into a tree with a sickening thud. Still locked in, he's already calculating his next move, debating whether to hunt down the hidden enemy or worry about the one who got away. Out of nowhere, a hulking mercenary charges, screaming for blood. His weapon ignites with dark power, the mercenary's face twisted in a sneer. Meanwhile, the mercenary leader watches, his eyes blazing with an infernal red light. But before the attack can even land, Helmet explodes into motion, a blue flash of pure speed, dodging the blow with impossible grace. He's already behind the brute, a single, devastating strike delivered. The mercenary's armor shatters, glowing with the raw power of the impact. Helmet lands, light as a feather, ready for the next challenge. But the fight's not over. A new, cloaked threat steps out of the shadows, promising a painless death. From the shadows, the white-haired observer watches, a chilling thought echoing in his mind: even rest is part of the grind, a lesson from Darian himself. He zeroes in on the mage below, a powerhouse, yet still just a dead base in the bigger picture. But Helmet, bored out of his mind without a sword in hand, ignites his power, a brilliant blue aura flaring around his fist. He explodes into action, a blur of blue energy, smashing a mercenary into the sky. The mercenary, utterly blindsided, can only choke out a shocked, "What?" as his bravado crumbles. Helmet doesn't let up, his assault a whirlwind of power, finishing the job. The white-haired observer, orb glowing, coolly remarks, he wouldn't have talked so much trash, but admits Helmet absolutely crushed it. Yuta goes absolutely ballistic, unleashing a primal scream as a savage blue aura erupts around him, charging in for the kill. His sword slices through the air, a devastating arc of crackling blue energy tearing through everything. But the white-haired observer, he's not missing a beat, his piercing violet gaze locked onto the unfolding chaos. But Helmet? He's just too fast. In a flash, he dodges, deflects, and sends a shockwave of dust flying. Yuta is absolutely stunned, his jaw practically on the floor, muttering, "This bastard." Even the observer is blown away, his internal monologue screaming, "He's way stronger than I thought. He's totally exceeded my expectations." He coolly reassures, "Don't worry." As Yuta, still fuming, locks his gaze on his opponent. But Helmet isn't even breaking a sweat, a fierce grin on his face as he declares, "We're just getting warmed up." You can practically see the steam coming off Yuta's head, a vein bulging as his frustration hits critical mass. Helmet was just chilling, strolling through the eerie, misty woods, probably thinking, thanks to whoever was lurking behind him. But then, out of nowhere, Yuta just blew up, screaming at him, "Who are you? I called you here." Helmet, however, just put out his hand, and bam, purple energy exploded around him, shutting Yuta down with a cold "no." With his eyes practically burning, he flat out told Yuta he wasn't even in his league. Yuta's jaw dropped, his eye practically popping out, muttering, "This?" in total disbelief. But that shock turned into pure rage, and Yuta just went for it, his glowing blue blade tearing through the air. He was absolutely losing it, yelling, "You bastard. You're just rank N trash," and challenging him for even thinking about Seo, the number 2. Yuta's attack slammed into Helmet, sending him flying back with a burst of blue energy. Yuta's relentless blue energy attack kept Helmet on the defensive, pushing him back. But then, a massive burst of purple energy erupted from Helmet, blasting Yuta away. The gray-haired mage's power went into overdrive, a blinding purple aura engulfing him completely. Yuta's face twisted in a mix of shock and pure fury at the incredible display. But just as quickly, Yuta struck back with insane speed, landing a devastating blow. Helmet was sent absolutely flying, smashing through the air and kicking up a massive explosion of dust. A guttural scream tore from his throat as he slammed into the earth, utterly overwhelmed. Yuta stood triumphant, gazing down at the fallen mage, who lay broken on the ground. Barely able to breathe, Helmet could only choke out, "How can a brute like you use this much power?" The final, devastating blow connects, eliciting a sharp, guttural cry of agony from the fallen opponent. Helmet stands victorious over his fallen foe, his voice dripping with icy disdain as he declares the fight over, casually offering to spare the man's life, as if his pleas for mercy were utterly meaningless. Battle concluded, he simply turns his back on the frozen wasteland, walking away from the carnage. But the defeated man, still sprawled on the cold earth, lets out a defiant rasp, mocking Helmet's offer, daring him to think he'd ever beg for his pathetic life. A guttural, humiliated laugh rips from his throat, screaming that death itself would be preferable to this soul-crushing humiliation. Helmet, still walking away, coldly muses on the man's past cowardice and repeated blunders, concluding that even that wasn't enough to save him. With a face twisted in raw fury and grim determination, the defeated man snarls, accepting this crushing humiliation as a fuel, a prize far greater than Helmet's pathetic cowardice. Amidst the settling dust, a mysterious, glowing purple shard pulses in the shattered ground, a silent, ominous relic of the battle's raw power. The defeated man clenches his jaw, a silent, agonizing testament to his crushing defeat and simmering rage. A chilling, almost mocking laugh reverberates across the barren land. While he strides away from the brutal aftermath, his dark cloak dramatically sweeping behind him. He lets out a soft sigh, a subtle reaction to the heavy atmosphere. His mind races back to the fallen foe, a sharp, resentful thought of that bastard he'd just put down. But even after such a clash, a strange thought surfaces, a fleeting hope that his adversary will somehow recover. Meanwhile, the vanquished light-haired warrior lies broken on the cold earth, his body still racked by the devastating blow. He writhes, attempting to rise, his battered form a stark reminder of his crushing loss. With a furious snarl twisting his features, he unleashes a torrent of curses, desperate to understand the overwhelming power that brought him down. But as the defeated rages, a mysterious hand, gleaming with a golden bracelet, carefully plucks the pulsating purple shard from the earth, its arcane power radiating intensely. Helmet unleashes his true power, engulfed in a maelstrom of purple and pink energy. Ethereal wings erupt from his back as jagged rocks defy gravity around him. And his voice rings out with absolute conviction, "I'm a mage." Helmet is locked in, staring down a holographic interface, his stats and skills popping off the screen. Level 29, ready for action. Then, bam. The world explodes into a swirling cosmic void, with purple energy and shattered rocks flying everywhere. But down below, a white-armored powerhouse, absolutely radiating purple energy, dominates the scene, standing over two cloaked figures. One of the cloaked figures, red mask and all, is absolutely boiling with rage. The white-armored attacker unleashes a devastating purple energy blast, hitting with explosive power. The attack explodes into a massive, destructive wave, shattering everything in its path. But just as the chaos peaks, the white-haired observer steps in, hand already blazing with raw power. He unleashes a powerful purple spell, blasting from his palm, making it clear that messing with him has consequences. The spell connects, absolutely blasting one of the cloaked figures, as the observer drops his final, chilling line. The white-haired observer was not playing around. One cloaked figure dared to call him a little brat, while another, shrouded in darkness, fired back, "You sure are arrogant." But before they could even blink, he was gone, a white flash of energy slamming into his foe. Then, a devastating magical aura, pulsing with pink and purple power, exploded from his hand, swallowing the dark-clad figure whole. But this guy was tough. The cloaked man fought back, charging his hand with crackling purple energy, ready to hit back. Nope. The white-haired observer was just too fast, landing a crushing blow that sent his foe rocketing backward in a burst of dust and white energy. Just when you thought it was over, a whole new squad of cloaked figures popped out of the forest, with one of them boldly stating, "All of you will have to deal with us." But the white-haired observer didn't even flinch. He started powering up, a golden magic circle igniting around him as he coolly ordered, "Stay still." Total panic broke out among the new enemies, with some screaming, "Run! Run!" and another just bewildered, "It's bewildering." But there was no escape. The observer unleashed blinding golden energy lines, mockingly asking, "Where do you think you're going?" He's a blur of motion, absolutely obliterating one of the cloaked figures mid-leap, sending them flying. Another one tries to sneak in a hit, but he just casually deflects the blade, already setting up his next move. Then, with a massive golden explosion, he blasts back a whole group of them, sending them flying through the forest. And just like that, golden rings of light lock down the area, trapping anyone who dared to challenge him. He just stands there, a casual escaping him, looking down at the defeated leader like it was nothing. His eyes are laser-focused, thinking about how fast that went down, and how the rest of them just bolted once their boss was out. Leaving the chaos behind, he just strolls deeper into the silent, wintry forest. He passes a giant, blood-splattered rock, completely obliterated, a clear sign of the insane power unleashed here. He lets out a small, wondering if the rest of those guys already booked it. The world is a desolate, rocky wasteland, stark and unforgiving under a grim sky. Suddenly, a lone figure is sent hurtling through the air. His mind a whirlwind of disbelief. How could it have come to this? He remembers the old man's warnings, and the little brat from Page. A brutal memory flashes, heavily armored figures, crackling with an unexpected magical aura, completely blindsiding them. Now, battered but not broken, he leans against a tree in a dense forest, trying to make sense of the chaos. A single question echoes in his mind, when did it all go so wrong? But then, a new threat emerges. Helmet, sword drawn, stares upward, his face a mask of grim determination. Beside him, a woman's eyes widen in alarm, her gaze fixed on the same unseen danger. He's locked in a flashback, Darian's training advice echoing in his head, but the present reality is a total nightmare. Then the chilling realization hits him, Paul, actually lost. The sheer impossibility of it makes him gasp, this can't be real. He remembers that guy's swagger, the way he acted like he was invincible. Flash forward to now, Helmet's in a frozen wasteland, the wind howling as he takes in a brutal scene. Then, bam. An invisible force hits him, knocking him flat on his face. The entire desolate landscape is a graveyard, bodies everywhere, just lying there on the frozen ground. But then, a white-haired woman steps through the chaos, finding Helmet on the ground, and her shocked question echoes, "You're alive?" She stares down at him, her violet eyes wide with shock and maybe, just maybe, relief. A shocking realization hits, reverberating through the shadowy depths. Meanwhile, the white-haired woman, with those piercing violet eyes, coolly orders her unseen allies to lock them down. But Helmet, his face tight with tension, sees the truth, they're already on their last legs. The white-haired woman then faces him, a small vial in hand, declaring she'll use it on the unconscious one, because she's not about to burn her own mana right now. Helmet's eyes practically pop out. He remembers Darian's wisdom about finding the ultimate solutions, and it hits him, the answer was right there the whole time. A quick flashback, two older figures behind him, as he curses himself for letting those bastards get away, a mistake that still stings. Snapping back to reality, he starts to interrogate her, demanding to know her secret. She just calmly asks if he didn't pass out. Helmet, shocked, drops the bombshell, he never touched that spring's potion. He's standing there, surrounded by a pulsing purple aura, eyes locked on something unseen, ready for anything. The white-haired woman, her finger literally glowing with power, just smirks, like, seriously? You thought I wouldn't see that? Helmet's eyes just pierced through her. He's not backing down, demanding answers, like, okay, but why aren't you asleep right now? With her hand still radiating power, she just casually drops the bomb, she's a mage, duh. A sly grin spreads across her face as she adds, yeah, I can totally see that much, no biggie. But then her whole vibe changes, purple energy exploding around her, as she gasps, wait, you've been awake this whole time? Her eyes are practically bugging out, scanning his face, still trying to process how he's even standing. Helmet, chilling on the ground, just coolly confirms, yeah, I can totally see you. The white-haired woman, her violet eyes practically popping out, is like, seriously? Why'd you pretend you didn't see it until now? While Helmet just chills, dropping the bomb that he wasn't even that curious. He just pivots, a subtle rustle of his cloak as he moves. Leaving her absolutely flabbergasted, just staring at his back with a look that screams, what the heck? Helmet just keeps on strolling, practically radiating a giant question mark. His chill exit just totally grinding the mage's gears, who's watching him storm off with a clenched fist. Her inner monologue just screams, this guy is such an irritating crow bastard. Helmet, the forsaken child, is taking a moment, but even in rest, his mind races, recalling Darian's wisdom, downtime is still training. But let's be real, not swinging a sword. Kinda boring. He lets out a relieved, phew, knowing they barely dodged a bullet. Elsewhere, Uter, the bald powerhouse, is practically gushing with thanks, asking how they could possibly pay back such a debt. The white-haired woman next to him totally agrees, stating they're forever in their debt. But she's not having any of it, shrugging off their gratitude, saying she just did what needed to be done and wants nothing back. Uter then reminds her about the mercenary who also lent a hand, making her wonder about that mercenary's strange actions. She thinks out loud, totally baffled why he didn't just grovel like everyone else would have. Helmet's chilling by a serene river, but even in peace, he's got this nagging feeling that someone out there isn't exactly thrilled with his chill vibes. Elsewhere, in some seriously fancy digs, Uter's dropping some intel to a big shot, confirming he'd heard about these immunity problems, then gives a polite thank you. But Lord Aaliyah, this fancy dude, isn't really feeling the gratitude. He's all like, you're just a mercenary, so when you're done, you better bow down. Then, out of nowhere, he gasps, "Itch, Lord Aaliyah." Back with the white-haired woman, she's totally in her head, just blown away by how wild it is, that she got saved in such an insane way. Her thoughts are going a million miles an hour, a total blush creeping up as she's like, if this isn't destiny, then what the heck is it? Suddenly, it hits her with a jolt, her heart absolutely thumping, she's convinced this is 100% fate. Her fists are clenched, her face set in pure resolve as she swears she'll help him no matter what. Her eyes get all soft and dreamy, a hopeful sparkle there as she thinks about her future, because she's got someone waiting for her back home. Then, with this intense, almost glowing determination, she drops the bombshell, the second she graduates from the academy, she's marrying him. A masked guard collapses with a pained gasp, and the butler's urgent cry rips through the air, calling out for his lady. Amidst the turmoil, she stands, tears threatening to spill, but the butler's sharp voice cuts through, demanding she hold her composure in such a dire moment. With a decisive command, he orders the entire group to move out, leaving the danger behind. A relieved breath escapes him as they finally escape the immediate threat. Despite an exhausting overnight journey, he reflects on their triumph, having successfully rescued a significant number of people. The magnificent procession finally rolls in, a stream of carriages and horses pouring through the grand, ornate city gates. From atop her horse, the young woman casts a worried glance back, the ordeal still heavy on her mind as they press onward. Their destination is revealed, Baden, a name that carries significant weight. Inside a opulent hall, Helmet stands, his piercing gaze fixed on the butler, who offers a crisp, respectful, yes. "Thank you for your hard work," Lord Aaliyah declares, his tone oozing appreciation, "I'll make sure your efforts are rewarded beyond your wildest dreams." He dramatically presents a heavy pouch of coins, the metallic clink practically screaming its value. "And this isn't even part of the promised fee," he clarifies, a smirk playing on his lips, "just consider it a bonus, a token of our immense gratitude." The hefty bag of Marcos coins gleams, a testament to their generosity. A mysterious young woman with flowing dark hair accepts the payment, her face a mask of cool indifference. While behind her, the white-haired woman observes, her violet eyes blazing with an otherworldly glow. The recipient's gaze remains razor-sharp, betraying nothing. She subtly shifts her head, her long, dark locks cascading over her shoulder. With a dramatic swish of her cloak, she turns and walks away, her footsteps echoing as she disappears into the shadows. The black-haired woman and her white-haired ally stride away, their footsteps a rhythmic beat against the ground. Her companion casts a quick, questioning look over her shoulder. The black-haired woman turns, offering a rare, heartfelt thanks for the immense assistance she'd received. A subtle huff escapes the white-haired woman, as their synchronized steps carry them further from the estate. Then, with a sharp, decisive tone, the black-haired woman announces her next objective, setting off towards the imposing academy, leaving her companion to ponder. The journey was on, leaving everything behind in a blur. Suddenly, with a decisive step, Helmut was there, under an epic, open sky. And then, bam! A city so massive it just hits you, its incredible structures practically touching the clouds. He just had to gasp, this place was absolutely stunning, way bigger than any village he'd ever seen. And the crowds? Insane. So many people everywhere, a buzzing, living city unlike anything he'd ever experienced. Every step he took just hammered it home, this place was unbelievably huge, almost impossible to grasp. Pushing deeper, he moved under a massive arch, every turn revealing another jaw-dropping view of this epic city. Gazing up at the colossal buildings, he just had to wonder, so this is it. He remembers Darian's wisdom, rest isn't just downtime, it's part of the grind. But without a blade to swing, he's already bored, even as he steps up to this epic academy. He strides into the massive hall. His sudden entrance makes a staff member jump, whispering a name in shock. He keeps coming, making her jump and shout, "Whoa, you totally spooked me." She pulls herself together and asks, "So, what's up? Why are you here?" Helmut cuts straight to the chase, "I'm here for that guy." The woman's eyes widen as she puts it together, "Oh, you mean Sir Ethan Hudson, the legendary swordsman instructor. Got it." He cuts straight to the chase, declaring himself an acquaintance. The academy staffer, caught off guard, stammers, asking if he wants to see the instructor, then quickly demands his name. But his face gives nothing away. He simply turns and strides away, his boots thudding on the stone, leaving the bewildered staffer in his wake. But she quickly snaps out of it, pointing and shouting, directing him with urgency. He heads straight for a massive, circular door, and with a surge of power, it erupts in a brilliant blue glow, magic crackling around its edges. The staffer's jaw drops at the sudden magical display, her eyes wide as she frantically calls out for him to wait. Her shock intensifies as the sheer power of the magic hits her, a heavy thud reverberating through the academy. But Helmut remains utterly unfazed, standing before the now fully charged, pulsating portal, poised to enter. Helmut bursts through the portal, his mind already racing, fixated on the enigma that is Darian. But the portal slams shut behind him with an ominous, echoing creak, leaving the academy staffer completely stunned by the abrupt closure. Both of them whip around, shocked by the sudden, echoing thud. But Helmut's already stepping into a massive, opulent hall, where a formidable figure is already waiting. The man pivots, his gaze like steel, dropping a bombshell. "Helmut? Never heard of him." Then, with an icy tone, he demands to know the intruder's business.